Start the recording here. Okay, great. Any questions on Hakoin's lecture before we go any further? Are there any questions on his lecture? I tell you what, can anybody give me some examples or their opinions on what they gleaned from Hakoin's lecture? What did you glean from it? What did you get from it? Any takers? Anybody want to say anything about what they gleaned from Hakoin's lecture? His testimony and his update to the Mishpachah? Any thoughts? I'd like some feedback. The last part, especially being blessed mightily. Okay, Tadah Rabbah by obedience. Tadah Rabbah for that luxury class, and Shabbat Shalom to you. Anybody else want to take a shot at it? Now, these are just your opinions. What did you get from his lecture? I mean, we're listening. So then there should be a time of processing, and of course a time of reflection, and then also a time of learning. What did you learn from it? Abrahu says motivation. Yeah, Tadah for that. Adia says great fuel for everything. Okay, yeah, Tadah for your opinions. These are what you think, and that's what's important. Because at the end of the day, it's not what I think. It's not what your mama think or what mama said. It's not what your father told you. But it's, at the end of the day, it's what you think. It's what do you think? What are you going to use? Like, Adia said, what are you going to use as fuel to propel you forward, to propel you to the universes, Baruch Hashem? I imagine when Adia wrote that fuel there, I thought about this, going into space. You know how we have SpaceX and we have the NASA, and we're going into space, and how much fuel it requires to get that rocket and propel it from Earth into the outer atmosphere and then into space. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, I like that space stuff. I'm a Trekkie, so I like that kind of stuff. And it requires a lot of fuel to do that. A lot of fuel. You see those big boosters, those big fuel boosters that require a lot of fuel to make that happen. And again, in the same aspect, it's going to require for your desires to be met, your wants, your thoughts, your needs, your emotions, your wishes, your desires. It's going to require fuel, right? Tadah for that, Adia. That's a great way to put it. It's your fuel. It's going to require fuel, and that fuel is going to have to come from you. Yeah, you can get outside assistance, but that fuel needs to be within you. Okay, Okay, yes. Now Sean says he has much fuel. So I think it's going to be important for us to understand going forward is that we have to be fueled up. Now, what I gleaned from my Kohen's lecture is this. What I gleaned from my Kohen's lecture was this, let me find this binky, yeah, we need to truly be grateful because we're truly blessed in the nation that we're in and the nation that you're in, because again, how many of you are running out of electricity? I mean, we truly should be grateful and be mindful of that point. And let me get this binky real quick. Okay, so we should be mindful. We should be mindful of their point. Is that we should always be grateful for what we have and what we are. But a lot of times we don't appreciate that because we haven't seen the other side. You see, a lot of you think you're in a bad situation now, but your situation and your experience is not bad because guess what? You haven't seen the other side. You see, so I think it's very, very important for us to understand. Ursula, Shabbat Shalom to you from, I think, California, right? This is one of our new family members, Baruch Hashem. Great new information from the one who know and willing to share. Oh, yeah, indeed. And we all need this information. A luxury class, and for those living in California, you'll know how Kohen is talking about, because recently, didn't y'all electricity go out in some parts of California? And you saw how the people were. Luxury class says if the electric goes out here for a few hours, people freak out. They freak out. I saw people running around California, parts of California, like it was the apocalypse. And they're having to throw away all this food and blah, blah, blah. Can't charge your cell phone. Yeah, true necessities, the cell phone, right? So I think it's very, very important that we do understand. And I like more of your responses. On what you think. Daniel is saying this, and that the acts and responses towards people from our Kohen at the gate are some great examples and reminders of how Israel is to be a light to the nations and also remember that the many blessings that we have, and never take the simple things like take a shower for granted. Oh, indeed. I am truly grateful and happy for where I am in America. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, Master Yeshua. Oh, indeed. Indeed, Daniel, Tadah for your sharing, and Tadah for your opinion and your thoughts on the whole process and procedure. I think it's so very important, because sometimes we can get, I guess we can say, a little lazy, a little lax, and then we'll become dissatisfied in our satisfaction, and dissatisfied in being satisfied. Think about that for a minute. I know it's kind of almost like an oxymoron, but it's true. You'll be dissatisfied in your satisfaction. You see what I'm saying? You're so satisfied over here. And remember, when you study our history, as you are students of the Torah, what our books tell us is that our downfall began when we became what? Our books tell us just like this. You became fat. Isn't it what our books tell us? You see, another word for fat would be what? You became fat. Guard against becoming fat. And I'm not talking about anybody's weight, but I'm just saying our book talks about when Israel became fat. We got into the nations, and we got into the land, milk and honey, we became fat. You see, that's another word for satisfied. You became satisfied. Or, like you said, lazy. Good job, luxury class. Good examples. Complacent. Lazy. You became fat. You became satisfied. Oh, I'm good because I'm eating good. You see, but a lot of times in our satisfaction, because we were satisfied, had all our needs met, you see, then you begin to become unsatisfied with your satisfaction. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's truly, but you see a lot of people in this situation, in these great shepherd nations that are truly being blessed up and down the block. You become dissatisfied in your satisfaction. And I'm like, my goodness, you have so much to be grateful, so much to be thankful for, so much to give esteem and publish the name of the Master Yeshua, of the God of Israel for, and where you are and where you're at. But no, because we have to waste all of our energy, majority of our energy, on the other side of the stick. Well, let's focus on what I don't have. Let's focus on the have-nots opposed to the haves. You know what I mean? Daniel saying this. Oh, indeed, I've always have said that Americans need to take trips outside the country to places, and that they will see how blessed we are in the country. And we don't have to go that far to find out. Listen, I'm here in San Antonio, Texas, which they call Little Mexico. If you go right across the border, you can see the difference night and day. Matter of fact, you don't even have to go across the border. You go down there to Piedras Negras or down there to Laredo. All you have to do is look across the border. You just look and you see the difference. And so, believe me, Daniel, I truly know what you're talking about. First-hand experience as well. As I did go into Mexico for a while, but I came out real quick. I came out really, really quick. I did go in there because I wanted to say I was in Mexico. But never a long-term stay in Mexico. Always in and out thing. But, yeah, we need to look at that. We truly do need to look at that going forward. We truly are blessed. Another thing that I noted from the Kohen, like someone said before, like someone has stated earlier, is that you're going to find this, is that people are going to be a magnet to you. You don't have to do anything. You could be back trying to be humble and meek, and what you're going to find is that people are going to be attracted to you. People are going to find you. Anybody's noticing that in their life right now? Is it like people are attracted to you? You're finding people are coming to you. You're not trying to do, matter of fact, you're trying to be incognito, go about your business, do your work, but yet people find you. People want to talk to you. People want to have conversation with you. People want to meet you. Yet at the same time, you could be, and when Hakohen was talking about that during his lecture, it came to mind of the same life that the Master Yeshua has in our books that we read about in our books. It's just people flock to him. He would just go about his business, but yet he had a following. Any of you noticing that same thing? You should, if you're a light, and if your light is truly luminous, people are going to want to just talk to you. People are going to come up to you and say, hey, you know, I got this problem. Can you help me out? I mean, that's your role. Believe me, please. Don't shuck and jive that. Don't discourage that, because you're a light to your nation. So darkness, per se, if I can use that word, will be drawn towards your light. Now, being in darkness, I don't mean that in a bad thing and in a bad way. Because what? When you look at Genesis, when we look at the beginnings of our books and you read, is that the earth was in void and what? It was in complete darkness. Am I right? Think about that for a minute. So a lot of time people associate darkness with just evil inclination, when that's truly not the case. Think about it for a minute. The only reason why you're in darkness, and I'm gonna take you there for a minute. The only reason why you're in darkness is because you put yourself in darkness. Do you think the Creator that breathed into your nostrils desires for you to be in darkness? No. You make your darkness, or you can make your light. Goes both ways, Mishpahah. This is not a one-way ticket here. You see, it goes both ways. So you have control on whether you want to put yourself in darkness or you want to put yourself in the light. You understand what I'm saying? That's your ability to be able to choose and do that. To put yourself in darkness or to keep yourself in light. That responsibility is on you. In this world that you've been given dominion over. How are you going to have the dominion over your world, or the world going to dominate over you? That's one of the biggest questions, and well, some people would call it obstacles out there today. Is the world dominating me, or am I dominating my world? Because you've been given dominion over this world, over this earth. So this is what you have to look at and examine going forward. That's what you have to look at and examine going forward, Mishpahah. So yes, I truly do see that. You know, I was walking into this building the other day, and you know, the woman just out of the blue said, "Wow, as soon as you came into this office, I felt your energy." I don't know this woman from Adam. She said, "Your energy." She said, "You have a strong energy about you." I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, Baruch Hashem, thank you. How are you doing this day?" So people will notice that about you. You're the light to the nations. You should have a strong, positive energy about you. You should go in a room and you should be able to change that room. And you don't even have to say one word. You can just go into the room. And people that are clued up or energy detectors, they'll sense that, oh, wow, you have a different... And she said just like that, an energy. I said, Baruch Hashem, I give thanks to the Creator. I give thanks to the Creator. Thank God for that energy. That energy is what drives me. That's my motivator. That, like Adelia said, that's my fuel. That's my fuel. I like to be fueled up with positive energy. I am positive energy. So we have to take these into consideration, Mishpahah, going forward. And I say that in all humbleness and meekness. Because, you know, I'm just like the Kohen. I like to keep it on the backside. I don't need to be in the front of the bus. I can be Rosa Parks and on the back. But it seems like when you're in the back of the bus, and I mean, this is our way of life. It seems like when you put yourself on the back of the bus, what happens? Just our way of life will bring you to the front of the bus. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You'll want to put yourself in the back of the bus, but you'll end up in the front of the bus. HaKohen described that very same thing in his lecture. He would tell you the same thing. Well, I tried to be in the back, but I always seem to get pushed up to the front. You know what I mean? So that's going to happen. And believe me, do not discourage that from happening in your life. Because that's your makeup. That's your livelihood. That's who you are. You are a light to these nations. Now, you all heard about, and I don't know, how many of you had the ability to be able to see, you know, you have that insight, or you had the ability to be able to see the copper plates, the copper engraved plates. Anybody in this room, you actually saw pictures of them? As our Kohen sent pictures, I was able to see some pictures of them. He hadn't sent them out to the masses as of yet, I don't think. But if you were able to see the pictures of the copper plates, can you please give a witness and a testimony to how they are for the Mishpahah? The rest of the family that haven't seen them, your opinion, or they're totally beautiful, as Oliver is telling you. These things are totally beautiful. Some of the most beautiful things you want to see in the world. totally beautiful. They're going to stick out. You want to talk about publishing the name? You don't have to say anything. The plates do it. You don't have to say a word. And that's how we are as Israel. You know, again, we put ourselves in the back of the bus. Now, what I mean by the back of the bus, we keep ourselves humble and meek and lowly at heart. And then we let our way of life, we let our God, the God of Israel, raise us to wherever He wants to raise us, to wherever you want to go. You see? Because not a lot of people want to be at the front of the bus. Let's just face it. A lot of people are not satisfied, and they're not happy being a leader per se, or maybe talking on the Power Talk. That's not their remit, and that's not their happy space, and that's not their happy place. But for all of you, I want you to find your happy feet. I'm watching a lot of Disney. I want you to find your happy feet, wherever that may be. If your happy feet is in the back of the bus, then be happy in the back of the bus. If your happy feet is in the front of the bus, but just find that happy feet, that happy space, that happy place where you feel comfortable. And then make that your domicile, where you reside. And where you can have your peace, where you can have your joy, where you can have your love. Because I guarantee you, how many people, let's just be real, you be honest with me, how many people in this room right now would say, Rabbi, I'm not comfortable being in a leadership position. Leadership position meaning I'm not comfortable talking in front of a whole bunch of people. I just don't do that. I can't talk to the masses. I'm not one to quick to raise my hand to be the first one to volunteer to do something. If that's not your makeup, that's just not your makeup, and that's okay. Not everybody has to be a Rabbi Kifa. Oh, Baruch Hashem for that. Not everybody has to do that. That's not your. If you're not happy doing it, then don't do it. I love to talk, and I've seen it in Akshan. My goodness, the doctor says he's talking before he's supposed to be talking. Why? It's because his father loves to talk. That's my happy feet. That's my happy place. I love talking. I love talking to, especially I love talking to people. I love talking to myself. But I love communicating. That's a great gift we've been given to talk. I was watching the news late last night because I'm up on daddy duties all times of the night with Nashawn, right? But I'm watching television, and this woman, she was just walking in the park, and she fell and hit her head. And when she came to, the woman had lost her sense to be able to smell. She lost her sense of smell just by falling down. She lost her sense of smell. If you want to eat food, huh? She lost her sense of smell, Mishpachah. Just by falling down. She was walking in the park. She woke up she got up from the fall, and she can no longer smell anymore. Do you think that woman does not have a high appreciation for being able to smell now? Because why? It was taken away from her. She lost that. But yet when she's going on with her life, yet with one less sense to be able to smell. All from a fall from walking in the park. And now the woman can no longer smell anymore. And I was like, wow. But yet the woman is still not letting that be a handicap. And she's still going on to do successful and do great things. And you know what? She found her happy feet. She found her happy place. And I'm like, Baruch Hashem. She did not let that, oh, woe is me, I can no longer smell. And guess what other sense she lost? If she lost the sense of smell, and she lost the sense of the ability to be able to taste. She can't taste her food. She has no, and you know what she said? They were interviewing her. She said, she said, just for me to be able to smell the grass. I miss that smell of fresh cut lawn after it's freshly cut, or the smell of roses or flowers. Just from a fall in the park. She hit her head a certain way, and she lost her sense of taste and the sense of smell. Baruch Hashem. But she did not let that stop her. She's very successful. She's a sculptor. She's an artist. She's doing all these wonderful artworks and sculpting pieces, and she's happy. Why? Because she found her happy place, her happy feet, and she did not let the so-called, what some people see as setbacks, or deformities, as some people may call them, or disabilities. She did not let that hold her back. Yes, she misses those things, but she's going on with her life. She's moving forward. And I was like, wow, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, that I can smell and I can taste my food with all these spices, and I can smell the rosemary, and I can smell the frankincense and the myrrh and all these smells. That's a wonderful thing to be able to do. So don't take your life for granted, Mishpachah. You, as the children of the books, you should even have a more higher appreciation. We, as the children of the books, because I include myself in everything, we, as the people of the book, should even have a higher appreciation for life in every aspect, and not sit there dwelling on our so-called disabilities, because in our disabilities we are able to Darabah for that in Hokmah. In our disabilities we are able. Baruch Hashem. Isn't that beautiful? What a statement. Might want to write that one down, because that's for somebody. I don't know if it's for somebody on YouTube or somebody live in this room, but in your so-called disabilities, you are able. Able to do what? Able to do whatever you want to do. Didn't stop that woman I watched on TV last night or early this morning that didn't have a sense of smell, did not have a sense of taste. Did the woman stop eating? No, she looked mighty healthy to me. It didn't prevent her from eating. She still was able to eat, Baruch Hashem, and giving thanks that she could eat. And in her testimony, she said, "You know what? I thank God that I still have I still have a good quality of life. That I can see my sculpture, I can see my artwork." Yeah, she misses those abilities to be able to smell and taste, but you know what? It enhanced her other abilities as well. So she's giving thanks for her other abilities, even more so. You understand what I mean? Think about that for a minute. And that's what happens when you look at the pathophysiology of the body. Do you know what happens when you lose one sense? Your other senses become better. Did you know that? Did you know that? I have this baby I take care of. He cannot see. He's legally blind. But you know what? The boy can hear like a hawk. My goodness. His hearing is like, my goodness. He hears everything. And his hearing is so sensitive that we had to disconnect the doorbell. Because the doorbell, he hears so, his hearing is so heightened now that the doorbell will set off seizures in it. Because he hears so good. So we have to be careful with sounds. Certain sounds will spark him having seizures because his hearing is that good. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? But he can't see. So they say he's legally blind, as they say. I put that in quotes. But there's days where he tracks me like no man's business. I'm doing a little dodgy dance, and he's just tracking me. Oh, his eyeballs are following me. I'm like, wow, Baruch Hashem. So much for your legally blind. I told him. I tell him that all the time. So much for your quote-unquote legally blind situation. But again, Mishpachah, when one of your senses go down, the others get better. If that's in science, and that's proven in the pathophysiology of the body, how much more so when we look at our life experiences? Yeah, you get down in one area, so what? You'll improve in all the others. Don't focus on the down area, you see? That's what's important to understand. Don't focus on the down. Focus on the heightened senses that you do have. Focus on those abilities that you do have. Too many times we focus on all the things that have no meaning. Or, like I'll steal Adelia's thunder. We focus on things that don't give us fuel. Wow. And we put all our energy on those things that are not giving us fuel. How many of you in this room right now say, I need fuel, Rabbi? Put up capital F if that's you. Say, Rabbi, I need fuel. I need fuel. I'm trying to shoot beyond the moon, beyond the universes. I need fuel. I need fuel. How many times do you fuel up your car? I'm pretty sure you fuel it up more than one time in a week, unless you got a Tesla. You got some electric cars around here. I'm trying to go beyond the moon. I'm trying to go beyond Mars, man. I need fuel. Luxury Class says, to the moon, Alice. Baruch Hashem. So let's not focus on those things that don't give us fuel. You see? Let's not focus on those things. It reminds me of my Star Trek movies. When they'd be calling down to Scotty, like, Scotty, we need more of that. What kind of, I don't know what kind of power they was using. We need more of that jet propulsion. And Scotty come back, oh, I'm giving it all she's got, Scott. I'm giving it all she's got. Captain, I'm giving it all she's got. In his Irish, you ever watch that? You know what I'm talking about? I'm giving it all she's got, Scott. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. That's what I'm saying within my inner man, is I want so much fuel that I'm giving it all she's got, so that I can shoot and I can have enough fuel to go wherever I want to go, wherever I desire in my life, to find my happy feet. Find a place where and do those things that are making me happy, giving me peace and love and joy. That's where I want to be. That's where I am. Because I desire to be there. Now, how many of you are still celebrating Sukkot? You're in Sukkot mode, Baruch Hashem. You're celebrating Sukkot, our festival of tabernacles. Anybody still in celebration mode? Put up a capital S if that's you, Baruch Hashem, giving thanks. Remembering our festivals. Tada Edis for that. And Ha Shemek Sukkot to you, Baruch Hashem. Giving thanks. Always. For our festivals, our feasts, our high holy days. Marvelous. Enjoy your festival. A time of remembrance, a time of celebration. Baruch Hashem. Totally giving thanks. Always. And in compliance. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. This is going to be the meat and potatoes, the grits and the greens of my lecture today. Not compliance, but I want to, when I say this word to you, tell me what comes to your mind. I say this word. Oh, and by the way, with the plates, for those of you, I know you're probably so anxious to see them, but we're trying to keep the cost down, but I'm telling you, these copper plates are heavy. They are heavy. And I tell you, they look so beautiful, and they'll be able to weather any kind of situation wherever you're at in the world, any kind of environmental situation. Because they're super strong. And they're copper. So for the heat down here in San Antonio, they're just going to shine. And they're going to shine. And Nakshan going to grow up and get married, and they still going to be shining. And I'm going to have grandkids running around the house, and they still going to be shining. In our Texas heat down here. Or in some of your other areas where it's super cold, where it's super humid, copper can handle all that. Baruch Hashem. You see, these are plates that we're going to have forever, but they're kind of heavy. So we're still trying to deal with the price. I was saying $40, but, I mean, I don't know. It could go up to $50. I don't know, because they're so heavy. They're heavy. The shipping deals with weight. And these copper plates, they're made to last. And they're made to last for a long time. And what a great mitzvah that I was able to participate in. I'm so happy that I was able to make the moldings for it. And circulate the monies to do these, to do that. Put energy into this mikvah. This mitzvah. Not a mikvah. We're not trying to immerse anyone right now. So I'm super happy. And I did it in honor of my son Nakshan, Baruch Hashem. And may him and his children's children receive the mitzvah behind this, because this is a great work. And I'm telling you, you won't only see this on Jewish homes. I guarantee you Christians gonna want to get it. Non-believers probably gonna want to get it, because they're beautiful. And the power behind, and the meaning, and the words in the Hebrew, that's a powerful language. Powerful language. The foundation of this world was built on the 22 characters. Baruch Hashem. And the universes. Think about that for a minute. That's heavy, isn't it? It's real heavy. So, yeah, we're still working out the plates. As you can see, we're coming up with all different kind of designs and different purposes. But I know a lot of you, for your responses that have responded. I'll be asking you to respond again as we get closer. But, the shipping is what we're looking at. So what we're looking at doing is we'll probably have a waiting list. We're going to ship as many as we can with Hakohen when he comes back, because Hakohen will be making frequent trips back and forth to Pakistan. And so to defray the shipping costs, what we'll do is we'll take orders and put them on hold until he comes back, until he goes and comes back with more of the copper engraved plates. And so that way, that'll defray the shipping costs, you see. Not that we're trying to make things on the cheap, because I'm not trying to do anything on the cheap when it comes to serving the God of Israel. Anybody else in this room with that mindset? You want a cheaper version of serving God? No, I want the most expensive version there is. And you see it with the Ashkenazi and the Sephardi. Shabbat Shalom to you, favorite seven. Is they go all out. They don't do nothing secondhand. They do the best of the best. Any of you notice that with the Jew, with the converts in our way? I've noticed it. Is that they don't second best when it comes to doing the commandments. For God comes first, and they give God his best, their best. And we should be the same way as the children of the books. We shouldn't be second-handing God. Oh, well, give me the cheap version of serving God. How many of you want the cheap version of serving the God of Israel? Not me. I don't want the cheap version. If I'm going to spend my energy, I want the most expensive when it comes to serving God. Because energy in, energy out. What energy you're putting in is what energy is going to come out at the end of the day. And how many of you know your world currency is energy, by the way? A form of energy. Daniel says, I've always imagined for some time now that I've always wanted the Ten Commandments engraved on plates and put on my door. But now, from the Kohen, to do it and to doing it on copper is what? Is not only proper, but the real blessing to Israel. Oh, indeed, Daniel. Indeed. Indeed. It's so very important that we do understand that, Mishpah. Is I'm not trying to cheap out God when it comes to serving the God of Israel. Nope. I want to give him the best of the best, because you know why? The God of Israel has given me the best of the best. The best of the best family. The best of the best home. The best of the best car. The best. It's all about the best of the best, because that's how I want the best of the best. That's why I love the Mercedes slogan. Mercedes-Benz, they have a slogan that they're the best of the best. That's what I want. I want the best of the best. I want the best of the best life. I don't want a second-hand life. How many of you in this room want to live a second-hand life? No, I want a best of the best life. I want a best of the best world. I want a best of the best wife. I want the best of the best son. I want the best of the best daughter. I want the best of the best dog. I want the best of the best. That's my mentality. That's my thought process. It's the best of the best. You see? The best of the best. So, in my lecture today, my word of the day is this, and the topic of my lecture is going to be this. And when I say this word, what comes to your mind? Contribution. When I say contribution, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say contribution? When I say contribution, what comes to your mind? Daniel says giving. Okay. When I say contribution, what comes to your mind? Contribution. Eddie says tithe and group effort and your tithe. What comes to your mind? There's no wrong answer here. To be helpful, Daniel says. Any other takers? When I say contribution, Yan says to participate. Okay. There's no wrong answer, by the way. Don't be shy. Call yourself a mishpahad, and let's be a family, and let's sit down and reason together. Let's talk. Let's have conversation. Yael, woman of 10, says your efforts. When I say contribution, when I say contribution, what's the first thing? I tell you, this has been the word of the week that the Imam Chochmah gave me. Is contribution, 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 contribution. So I had to begin to ask myself, how am I contributing? What am I contributing to this world? Wow. See, I'm making myself a player in the world. How many of you want to be a player in this world? Adelia says support. Enough of that, Adelia. How many of you want to be a player in this world? Daniel says being present. When you say contribution, contribute, what does that mean? How do you do contribute? More importantly, because saying words only, that's half the stick. But let's put the words into do, because that's our history, that's our heritage, that's our way of life, is we put words into doing. So how do I do contribute? How do I do it? Now, I just want to give you a small example. When it came to the copper plates, we needed to make the moldings for the copper plates. That requires energy. That requires money. And I tell you, his student over there, the yeoman's work he's doing, maybe he doesn't fully understand what he's doing, but he's doing great yeoman. What yeoman's work for the children of Israel and their God. But even more importantly, it's bigger than that, because we're not going to put any boundaries on it. For the whole of the world. Because let's face it, when you help Israel, you're helping the whole of the world. Because Israel is the fuel for the world. Think about that for a minute. Do you know you and I, we're fuel for the world? Your world, my world, consists of all of this world. We're the fuel. We're the fuel for the world. Why do you think? See, this is one of the greatest blessings of the exile and the dispersion. Is that we're fuel for the world. We see it now, don't we? Maybe at one time we didn't see it. I know I didn't at one time. Because I remember when I came into this truth, you know the first thing that I wanted to do? How many of you were like of my mindset? When you came into the knowledge of the truth of who you are and your very being, the first thing I wanted to do was go back to Israel. How many of you are with me on that one? I'm going to put up a capital I for Israel, because that's the first thing I wanted to do. First thing I wanted to do was be on the first thing smoking back to Israel. First thing smoking. And do you know what my petition was at that time? Oh God, please come back soon. Come back now and take us back and restore us back to the land. Anybody with me on that area? When you first came into the truth, the first thing you wanted to do was to go back to Israel. Okay, now that I know who I am, let me go. The first thing I wanted to do was go back. I was like Daniel. I wanted to sell everything I had, pack up my family, and go to Israel. That's where I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm supposed to do. And then my petition was, God, now that I have woken up, now we can leave. Anybody had that understanding as well? You remember? Okay, now that you found me, okay, we can leave now. You can come back and you can restore us and you can bring us back from the four corners of this earth, and we can go back to Israel because you found me now. You see, I found you actually. You already knew you had always knew where I was. But now that I understand, see, I guess that was a little bit being selfish, right? But now I see the bigger picture, right? Now I understand is that we are supposed to be in these nations. And us being in these nations is actually showing mercy and grace to the whole world. Do you all see that? Is that God is merciful. We serve a merciful God to all the world, because the whole of the world is His creation. Now I understand. Now guess what? I'm happy in the nations. I'm very happy in the nations. And if the Master so desires to linger, so be it. Because the Master's done even a better thing. Is He's given me a son that can carry on my name and continue with the contribution and contributing to the world. Contribution. Contribute. Now, the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you contributing? Huh? Are you contributing? Are you contributing? So we must contribute. That's what's important. And here's another question. What are we contributing? Me with the copper plates, that was just one opportunity, and I humbly say this, that I was able to contribute to the world. Do you see it? Making the moldings for the copper plates. So I was able to contribute to the world. Not only to Israel, not only to you and I, not only to the children of Israel, but to the whole of the world. Contribution. What are you contributing? And so when you say contribution, it doesn't even have to just only be dealing with finance. You understand what I'm saying? But the question is, what are you contributing? And it's so important because guess what? We're going to read this in a minute, right from a story from the Master Yeshua. We're going to read this in a minute. I hope you all hear Nakshan in the back because that's him. Baruch Hashem. I give thanks for my son here. And I give thanks for being able to hear him. Right? I'm thankful for my hearing. Right? That I can hear. Because believe me, that's one of the senses that I would not want to be without. So I give thanks that I can hear. And I give thanks that Nakshan has vocal cords and that he can speak. And his, I guess we can call it vocalizing. So we have to ask ourselves, what do we want to contribute? What are we contributing to this day? And this may take some reflection. You may got to look within and say, well, what truly am I contributing? What are you contributing to your neighborhood? What are you contributing to your neighbor? What are you contributing to your job? See, in all these areas, you're contributing something. Don't just put your focus on what you contribute to Israel, what you contribute to the family, because then guess what you're doing? You're putting yourself in a bubble. And you're totally rejecting the meaning of having dominion over this earth. Because it's bigger than just Israel, the family. You see? It's bigger than just Jacob's family. Why do you think the Master dispersed us to the four corners of this earth? So what happens, pray tell, when you make this what they call an aliyah, and you make this and you begin to manifest exodus back to Israel, and then you put these walls up all around it? What is that doing? Is that what we're supposed to do? So me, in my ignorance, wanting to go to Israel, that was a manufactured thought and desire. That was totally polar opposite of what our God said He was going to do. He said, "I'm going to do that for you." You don't have to go and manufacture this on your own and make aliyah and go back to Israel and blah 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 and blah blah blah. You don't have to do that. That you don't have to do. You see? Because God has that in control. As the Chinese say, Shandi. God, Shandi will do that. The creator of the heavens and the universes will take care of that part. In the meantime, what am I supposed to do in the meantime? What's my role? My role, as I was told by the Mother Wisdom and Chokmah, is to be a contributor, is to contribute. Contribute to my society, contribute to my environment, contribute to my neighborhood. Now, there's many different ways you can contribute, right? It's not just monetary based. I want you all to understand that. But at the same time, I want you all to understand, how many of you realize that you've been endowed with gifts? I'm telling you, this student in the East, in Pakistan, that's making these copper plates for us, he has a gift. For anybody that has seen his work, you've seen the plates and the engravement on those plates, you realize this man has the skills to pay the bills, right? Any watchers and witnesses in there with me? Because I was fortunate enough to be able to see the plates already. I saw them. I saw the copper plates, and they're beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful, Mishpahah. You know what? I would pay $100 for those plates, hands down, no problem. And when the student said, well, for the engravement of the Ten Commandments, I'm not going to be able to all get them on one plate. First thing that came to my mind, I was like, when Moses came down from the mountain, did he have one tablet or he had two? So it made perfect sense to me that the student couldn't get all the Ten Commandments on one tablet and that we would have to have two plates. Do you get it, Mishpah? I was like, wow, Baruch Hashem. Maybe some of that insight came from the Mother Wisdom as well, the Chokmah. I was like, wow, well, Moses came down from the mountain with two tablets. So why shouldn't we have two plates with the Ten Commandments? Right? Doesn't that make perfect sense? I realized, I was like, wow, this makes perfect sense. So the students saw it as a problem, but I didn't see it as a problem. That's just our history. That's our way of life. Our Ten Commandments were on two tablets. So why shouldn't we have two plates of engravements on our gates and on our post, right? Doesn't that make complete sense? I was like, wow. The alignment of everything in the universe is just beautiful. It's beautiful to behold. It's beautiful to watch. Very, very beautiful to watch. So as we continue on with our contribution side of things, can anybody name ways that they can contribute and that you have been contributing, if you don't mind? I don't mean to pry into your personal lives, but we're family here. So I guess we can get personal, right, in our relations. How are you contributing? How are you? Anybody tell me? I mean, don't be shy. You can tell me humbly. How do you feel like you're contributing in your contributions to this world? How are you doing it? Israel. You may need to think about it for a minute, and I fully understand that. Maybe you need to think about it a little bit longer than a minute, and I fully understand that as well. But this is the thought process you need to have with yourselves daily. Well, what contribution did I make to society today? And was that contribution a positive contribution, or was it a negative one? You see, these are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself on a daily basis. And this will help your light be more luminous. How many of you realize that you are a light? You have that understanding. You say, Rabbi, I know I'm a light. Put up a capital L if that's you. You realize that, Rabbi, I'm a light. I know I'm a light. I realize I'm a light. I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night and I was a light. I'm a light. I'm a light, Rabbi. I am a light. I am a light. Now, to offer your responses, by the way, with the capital L. Now, if you realize you are light, right? You understand light sometimes, it needs maintenance. I mean, sometimes the wind may blow it out for whatever reason. Or, it may get a little dim and you need to change, maybe change the candle out or whatever. So a light can always become more luminous. So what I'm doing is I'm giving us tools. The Chokmah is giving us tools to help us keep our light not only lit, but even make it more luminous to where it's more attractive. And not only bugs is coming your way, because you turn on the light in darkness, and what's the first thing that comes your way? The mosquitoes and all these little bugs coming because they attract to the light. But it's not only bugs coming your way, but you're attracting people that are in darkness. Now, how many of you at one time or another can say, Rabbi, at one time or another I was in the dark? Anybody? I'll put up a capital D on that one. You'll say, Rabbi, yes, at one time in my life or another, I was in darkness. I guess I'm the only one that was in darkness. But that's okay too. To die for that, dare you? At one time or another, Rabbi, I was just in the dark. I was in the dark about many things. Now I don't mean darkness like, oh, I was in darkness, Rabbi, I was in hell and blah, 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 all these stories. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about you was in the dark and maybe you were ignorant in certain areas in your life you didn't fully understand, and experiences you went through, you didn't fully have the instructional manual to go through it the correct way, and you made all kind of mistakes in that experience. And if you can go back and play it back again, then you would do things differently. Why? It's because now you're no longer in the dark in that area. You understand what I'm saying? When it came to Chinese culture, I was in the dark. I didn't know anything about Chinese culture, but I had to get clued up on it real quick. Clip notes couldn't even help me. I had to be thrown in the Chinese environment so that I can see, okay, this is the Chinese culture. You see? So, and a lot of times in our life, we're in the dark. We're in the dark in a lot of areas of our life. Now, is that a bad thing? No, it's not. Because you were in the dark, don't you have a high appreciation for the light now, this day? Because you were in the dark, don't that even make you appreciate being in the light even more so? Think about that for a minute. Because you had the experience of darkness. Thus, the light is heaven to you. They ask me, they say, hey, how is fatherhood? I say, you know what? If I can sum it up in one word, I feel like I'm in heaven. It's heavenly. Fatherhood, family to me, that's like, I feel like I'm in heaven. They're like, what? Really? Wow. Well, how much sleep you getting? How much sleep you getting? How much sleep you getting? What does that have to do with anything? I just told you I'm in heaven. You asked me how much sleep I'm getting? See, these are people that are being dominated by their bodies. And I'm maybe sleep deprived. But what does sleep having to do with it? I'm telling you, I'm in heaven. Luxury class says, when your lecture is complete, may I make a comment about a light and dark subject? Matter of fact, luxury class, I'll let you make that comment now. Because, I'm coming to an end of the light and darkness. Well, maybe not to an end of it, but this is an opportunistic time, and it is relevant to the lecture as well. So I'll give you the mic now, so you can definitely make your statement and your comment and give your opinion for sure. Okay, over to you, luxury class.
I did have one other comment. I'll wait till the end, though, but to stick to the dark and light topic. This is no joke. Probably about three months ago, I may have mentioned this in the room before, but I had something charging that I didn't. You never want to overcharge your batteries. I mean, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and or so, and maybe a little bit earlier. Anyway, so I had my dumbbells that normally I reshelve in my. I keep them in one part of my bedroom, so to speak, and I failed to reshelve them, so to speak, and I got up in the dark, and I know I have pretty good senses and whatever, but so silly me tripped over the dumbbells in the middle lane instead of just simply turning on the light, and I stumbled over the weights, cracked my ankle. I caught myself in mid-flight, so to speak. Unbelievable. And I immediately thought about, if I walk in darkness, I'm going to stumble. It was immediate. It was like it couldn't happen at a better time, so to speak. And I never forgot this. Sounds like it's kind of a silly example, but had I simply turned the light on, I would not have stumbled over those dumbbells that I had failed to remember. Because I normally reshelve them, so to speak. And I tripped, and it could have been a lot worse. And I'm in good health, but I tell you what, I was reminded of that for weeks because I had an injury, and that stayed with me. And it's just an example. If you walk in the darkness, you're going to stumble. You're going to fall. And I've definitely been in the darkness in that situation, another one. And I tell you what, the light is where it's at. The light is where it's at. So I'll get off the mic and thank you for allowing me to get on the mic. I had to say that. But it's an earthly experience that woke me up, and I immediately thought of that. It was exactly at the same time when it happened.
To rebuff of that luxury class, that was totally spot on. And your example, don't make light of your example, excuse the pun. Your example was a really heavy example, because everything that we do, right, in a spiritual context, right, it has to have a physical or earthly manifestation to it. This is why your example is so spot on and very heavy example. No pun with the heavyweight dumbbell thing either. But that is a great example. That is such a great example, Mishpahah. How, a spiritual principle can have definitely an earthly experience to it, and that's how it goes. You see, too many times we keep ourselves in the clouds in the spirit world, but you got to realize we live here on the face of this earth. You see, we live on the face of this earth. And so we need to have an earthly experience with that. And you all should be having these same kind of experiences. So, yeah, there's times that we're in the dark. And I guarantee you, luxury class appreciates the light now more than ever. Because he was in the darkness and he realized what happened. So he has a high appreciation for the light. So this is what darkness will give us. You know what darkness gives us? I'm going to sum it up in this phrase. Darkness gives us great experience. Baruch Hashem. Right? Doesn't darkness give us great experience? Think about it. When you go back and you look at the experiences in your life, and you were in the dark during that time, you'll realize that darkness gives you such great experience. So when you get into the light and you may have this same reoccurrence happening, then you can play it out in a totally different way. I bet you if luxury class has the same situation happen, I bet you now every time he gets up out of his bed now, he's turning on that light first. I guarantee you he is, because of the experience that he learned in the dark. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? And here he is, the watcher and the witness to it. He's saying, yes, for sure. Run to the light. He's turning on that light for sure. So I think that's very, very, very important for us to understand going forward, is that sometimes we're in the dark. But when we get in the light, he says, I reshelve my weights more consistently. Oh, indeed. That's another word of teaching over here in this house is consistency. That's so very important. Be consistent. You'll be successful if you stay consistent. That's another lecture for another day, another time. but that's being played out here physically in the Kefab and Yahweh for sure. But back to our word of the day, is we're talking about the contribution. What are you contributing? Yes, there are times you're in the darkness. There's a place for that. You see, but I tell you what has happened, and I know I don't have to stay on this part too long, this spiel too long, is that what the world has done, they have taken darkness and have let's just say, they've taken darkness and have blown it up to be bigger than what it is. You understand what I'm saying? They've taken darkness and actually made darkness bad. Do you know what I mean? Hollywood has done it. Religion has done it. They've taken darkness and have made it a bad thing. Bad, like super evil and wicked and blah, blah, blah. Dark and black and blah. You know, black cats and dark rooms and da-da-da and da-da-da. They made it evil when it's really not. It's really not. When you look at things in black and white, it really isn't. But what is dark is what we create or what we make inside of ourselves. We make this darkness. I guarantee you, luxury class, he created that whole scenario because luxury class decided to walk in the darkness. That was his decision. His room was dark because luxury class wanted it dark. Think about it. You see, luxury class made his darkness, just like he could have made the light. He could have made the light come on, like Daniel said, with his clapper, tap, tap, light on, blah, blah, blah. Or he could have done it in the darkness. Think about it for a minute. Think about it just for a minute. With luxury class's example, did he not make his darkness? Yes, he did. Because just as he made his darkness, he could have made his light as well. He could have. He could have turned on the light first before he done anything. Or he decided, no, I got good senses, right? Luxury class own testimony. Well, I got excellent senses. I can handle this in the dark, no problem. I have an imagination of my a blueprint of my room in my brain. I can see it in the dark. I can see it blindfolded, no problem. And then look what happened. Houston, there was a situation. Yeah, I don't mean to make light of this situation and laugh about your condition, luxury class, but I'm just trying to make a point. So we do need to understand these things, and I'm pretty sure all of you have an example as well that you can look at in your life and realize that there was some time where you were in darkness. But what I want to move over, and what we want to move over into now is this point. How many of you understand as human beings that you've been alienated with gifts? And not from E.T., but and endowed with gifts from the Creator, from your Creator? How many of you can agree with me on that? Is that you have abilities and gifts that have been given to you? Anybody? Put up a capital G if that's you. You understand is that you have some skills that can pay the bills. In other words, I've heard that saying. I like to use that. You have the skills that can pay the bills. You've been given particular talents and abilities, and you know you've been given this talent and abilities because you're good at it. Just like the guy making the copper plates, he's good at. Man, that guy is great at it. Put up a capital G if that's you. You realize that. You realize just by being a human being, you realize that you have special abilities. Wow, only 2 people? Come on now. Come on now, family. You don't realize how gifted that you are and the abilities that you have. Is it time to go to sleep already on Shabbat? Come on now, family. There's got to be more to y'all than that. You need to claim it. If you want to fame it, you have to claim it first. If you want the fame, you got to claim. You have abilities. You have gifts. You see? Now, we're going to take it into the Master Yeshua's words. Okay. So I know a lot of you maybe, you can't reply or maybe you don't want to reply. But that's okay. That's okay. But I'm telling you, I want to encourage you this day to really understand that you have gifts and you have abilities that have been given to you. Now we're going to take it into a parable that the Master Yeshua gave during this time that he walked the face of this earth as a human being. From the tribe of Judah. And we're going to go to this. I'm going to say this chapter and this verse and this book, and all of you are going to say, "Oh yeah, I know that story, Rabbi." We're going to go to the Matthew. We're going to go to Matthew chapter 25. Matthew chapter 25. And we're going to read this story. Again, we're going to read from the Hidden Truth Embraced Scrolls or the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. You don't have this Bible, please get it into your library. It will really help you with your studies. Really, really help you. Matthew chapter 25. Remember how we talked about how all of you have talents? Matthew chapter 25. I did ask you guys, when we talk about contribution, what comes to your mind? And you all gave great opinions on what comes to your mind. And all of your opinions are correct. Because what comes to your mind can't be wrong. Because that's your opinion. Matthew chapter 25. We're going to start reading at verse 14. How many of you, when you look at Matthew chapter 25, you know this story? The story of the talents. How many of you have heard this story before? Put up a capital S if you heard the story in our history. Capital S if you heard the story of the talents. I'm pretty sure if you've been at the feet of the Kohen, you've heard this story before. Daniel says, Chief Keeper, I was just thinking about this story this week. Baruch Hashem, Daniel. Do you see the family? We're on the same wavelength. You're from the tribe of Judah. We're on the same wavelength, Daniel. That's why. Baruch Hashem. Thank you to the universes. You see, because the Hokmah, she'll talk to me, but she can also talk to you. And she'll also put on an impression upon your heart, the same thing, because we're from the same tribe. So we get the same tribal message. Baruch Hashem. Thank you. And not only that, we're from the same family. So if you're not from the tribe of Judah, but you still got that message about the talents, then because you're from the same family. Thank you. The Hokmah, she's universal. She can be specific when she needs to be, but she's universal. Because she has the bosom in her bosom, she has the family in her bosom. Baruch Hashem. How many of you are taking the breast milk of the Hokmah? I am. As Nakshana just finished his breast milk, and he's over here knocked out, and he's super happy, super strong, super smart, and what should I say, super handsome. Baruch Hashem. So he's over here, he's getting the foot pedal. I tell you, multitasking is awesome. So I'm rocking him to sleep right now at the same time that I'm speaking to you now. Baruch Hashem. Multitasking is brilliant. Daniel saying, I was thinking about this story as HaKohen is away on his trip. This is an interesting story, and it has many different meanings as you peel away the layers of it. But let's get into it, because I think this is important for us to understand. As we talk about contribution, okay? Now I want you to look at this from the mindset of contributing, contribution, okay? And I'm not only talking about the energy of money, but I'm talking about all your energy, the very makeup of your very self, all of your energy, Mishpachah. Matthew chapter 25, verse 14. And the kingdom of Shemaim is like a man traveling into a far country, which called his own servants and handed to them his goods. I'm going to stop right there. The kingdom of heaven. What is the kingdom of heaven is like? Wow, what? The Master Yeshua, he's given us a great example here. He said, you know what the kingdom of heaven is like? Now, Daniel, good thought process as you see the Kohen is away so the cat will play. Because I'm from the tribe of Judah, see myself as a lion, that's a cat. Kohen's away so the cat will play. But I want to take it from this angle. Now, let's just say the Master Yeshua is away. He is the one that went on the far journey. Let's put it, the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling into a far country. Let's just say the Master Yeshua, he's traveled, he's left, he's away. He was here on this earth, now he's not here on this earth anymore. He traveled into more than a far country. Which, and look what the Master did. The Master Yeshua, he called all his servants, which called his own servants, and handed them his goods. Wow. How many of you have been handed the goods of the Master Yeshua? How many of you have been handed the keys to the kingdom? Put up a 1 if that's you. You say, yeah, I've been handed the goods. I have the tools of the Master, Baruch Hashem, the Master Yahweh, the Master Yeshua, because believe me, those goods were left, by the way. You see, that's why I asked the question earlier. How many of you feel like you've been given gifts? Well, I'm here to tell you, you have been given gifts. If you're a part of the family, you've been given some super gifts, man. I like to play Call of Duty. How many of you like to play Call of Duty? Man, I play that game. Remember how they used to drop the chest? They drop the chest with all the ammunition. You go find the chest, you get all the ammunition that you need, so you can continue with the mission. Get your bazookas and your grenades and all that stuff. They drop these chests, but you gotta go find them. They drop them at this location. You find the chest, and then you can restock. You can reload. Y'all know what I'm talking about, Call of Duty fans. So, think about this. Eddie said, one Chinese company, I just had them making a mobile version. Oh, wow. So, again, the Master Yeshua has left us with some gifts, right? He left us with the tools. Look at what he left us. Oh, he calls it the goods. He left us with the goods. We got a goodie pack. All of you have a goodie pack, Mishpahah. Whether you realize it or not, you have a goodie pack from the Master Yahweh. As he's away. The Master's not with us right now in physical body, but he's always with us. He went away on a journey to a way far country. Allegorically speaking, right? How many of you one day want to join the country that the Master's in? Well, you ain't going to have to go far. Israel's not too far away from here. Last time I checked, it's about a six-hour flight on a plane. Pretty soon you're going to be able to get there on the train. And maybe even an automobile. Who knows with technology today? Because guess what? I firmly believe flying cars are in if not my generation, in the generation of Nakshan for sure. My son, for sure. They're going to see flying cars. Maybe you could fly to China in your car. Ride in your car to China. Imagine that. So if you want to be a partaker, if you want to be, when the Master comes back, and again, from his traveling, from his far journey, you don't have to go see him in heaven, in the dwelling of majesty. No, he's going to be here ruling and reigning on this earth, by the way, that we've been given dominion over. You see? How many of you consider yourself a servant of the Master Yahweh? A servant of the Master Yeshua? A servant of Jesus? Anybody? Put up a capital S if you say, I'm a servant, I'm a servant, I'm a servant, Rabbi. I'm a proud servant. I'm a humble servant. I'm a meek servant of the Master. Baruch Hashem. Servants. Right? So, you qualify for the goodies. I want to tell you this day, for those of you who couldn't put up gifts, you qualified for these goodies, man. You qualify. You see? Y'all L1 said they are already here, just not in mass production. Oh, indeed. You qualify for these goodies, servants. This is what we've been told right here in Matthew chapter 25. If you're servants of the man that's traveling to a far country, he's handed you the goodies. We have the goodies. Okay, now, here's where contribution comes in. Contribution's coming in. Title of this lecture, Contribution. Okay, so you have these goodies. Now, how many of you will say now, okay, Rabbi, yeah, I see my goodies. I understand my goodies. I was in the dark a little bit by where you was going, but now I realize what my goodies are. Put up a capital G if you say, okay, I have goodies. If you have goodies, please put up a capital G. This is important stuff. You see, because in order to contribute, you must participate. So this is why I always ask you guys to be keyboard warriors and put up G's and S's and 1s and 2s, because you must learn to participate. That's very important. To be in the family, you have to participate. You have to contribute. But for some, it's difficult to even put up a G to contribute. So that shows where you are. You see? That's a telltale bellwether sign on where you are in the family. See, even Nakshan said, yes, Dad, that's true. In his sleep zone. in his REM sleep. So you must contribute. You must participate. Tadaf for the G's, by the way. So now you know you have your goodies. Now here's where the contribution is coming in now. What are you doing with your goodies? Here we go. We're getting deep now. See, we're getting personal, up close and personal. What are you doing with your goodies? Let's go through the story. I want to read the story. I want to read our history here, this parable. Matthew chapter 25, verse 15. And to one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability, and straightway took his journey. You have the gifts. You put up the G's. You have the gifts. Yael says, using them for myself and others. You have the gifts. Tada for that, Yael, woman of the tent. That's what she's doing with her G's, with her goodies, with the goodie bag that was left. The master left us these goodies and straight away went on his journey. Far journey. Far, far away. If you like watching Shrek. To the kingdom of far, far away. So, you have these gifts. You have the goodies. The master has left. Ooh-wee. Contribution. Now I understand why the Mhokma was taking me to the contribution. And my word this week has been contribute, contribution. Okay, let's go to verse 16. And he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made another 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained another 2. You see, with these talents, what do we start to notice with these servants, with these talents? They took them and they took the talents and they gained. They began to gain. Gain. Not subtract, but they began to gain. The talents, the goodies gave them ability to be able to gain. Pay close attention, Miss Bahar. Please pay close attention. Because all of you been given goodies. Now, can we all understand that with the goodies that we've been given, we're responsible for that goodie bag? Do you understand you're responsible for your goodie bag? How many of you know what I mean? Daniel says, sounds like Forex gains. There you go. Can you understand that you're responsible for your goodie bag? You're responsible for that goodie chest, however you want to see it. Some of you may see it as Aladdin's lamp, Will Smith Aladdin, and you got that goodie lamp, Book of Shiv. How many of you want the goodie lamp? I see myself with the goodie lamp. I just rub that lamp. My goodness, I want to gain from that lamp. I don't want to subtract. I definitely don't want to divide the lamp up, but I want to multiply. I want to gain with that lamp. My goodie lamp, goodie bag, goodie chest. For you women, I throw in there goodie purse. You know what I'm saying? For you men, I'll say the goodie man bag. Because I'm seeing a lot of men carrying the man bag around, which is, hey, no problem. Got the man bag. Me with Nakshan, believe me, I got a man bag now, Baruch Hashem. So, it's important to understand, is that gain. I want you to pick up on this. The master's saying gains here. We should be gaining. Or at least taking the goodie bag and trying to gain. You must, again, what we said earlier, you must participate. To contribute, you must participate. So you're going to take the goodies and participate them in something so that they can gain. At least be trying. Who's going to knock you if you try and you don't gain? But you're trying. So guess what? Even in your trying, you still gain. Baruch Hashem. How many of you get that? So as I was counseling someone this week, it says there's no such thing as failure. Oh, Rabbi, I failed. No, you don't. You don't fail. You gain what? Experience. You're going to always gain. Always see yourself as a gainer. Right? That's good stuff, isn't it? Daniel calls it the goody money wallet. You can call it that Baruch Hashem. The goody gain money wallet, Baruch Hashem. So we go back to the servants because this is key. Because I want you to put yourself, I want you to literally imagine yourself as one of these servants. And put yourself where you think you need to place yourself. Let's read verses 17 of Matthew chapter 25 again. And likewise, he that had two, he also gained another two. Look at verse 18. But he that received one went and dug in the earth and hid his master's money. Wait a minute. But his master gave him that money. See, not only could he not gain, he couldn't even claim his goodie bag. You see the mindset of this servant? He couldn't even claim the goodie bag. Remember I told you, hey, how many of you have the goods? How many of you, some of you couldn't even put up G's. What servant are you? He couldn't even claim his money. He said it's his master's money. No, but didn't the master give him the goodies? The master gave him the goodies. It's so important that you understand this, Mishpahah. You're so powerful. You have such great gifts and abilities. What's your contribution? What's your contribution to the world? Or are you saying, no, that's master's money. I better take and hide this money. Oh, I'm going to take my light, put it in the closet. Oh, I don't need to be concerned about the world events. I don't need to be concerned about humans studying the human nature. Nope, I just need to dig a hole, and I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hide myself in that hole, and I'm going to wait for the return of the master. And he's going to be so happy because I'm going to return. That's being selfish. Because you've been given such great goodie bag gifts. You've been given Aladdin's lamp. Aladdin's lamp for gain. And you want to bury it. Matter of fact, what happens when you bury something? It's in darkness, isn't it? Ooh, we getting heavy now to die for that in Hokmah. What happens when you take something and bury it? Doesn't it go into complete obscure darkness? Right? Don't bury it. Don't bury your goodie bag. Don't bury the goodies that you've been given. You've been given great gifts. Take those gifts and gain. How many of you are with me on this Shabbat? How many of you say, Rabbi, I feel you. I know exactly where you're at. I understand why I'm talking about contribution, contributing to die for your responses, by the way. Be with me. And if you're against me, so be it. But this is just the facts on the ground. This is our way of life. The Master Yeshua is giving this parable. I'm not giving it. I'm just opening up some understanding on it as I see it. And as the Hokmah gives to me, I give to you. Because you're family. And I want you all to be just as successful and to gain like I gain because you're family. But I can't make you gain. Not if you want to dig holes and bury stuff and say, no, that's the master's money. But the master has given me dominion. He's given me dominion. So he's given me rights to be able to make choices. To either gain or lose. But to at least make attempt, to at least try, to participate. Wow. This is beautiful. To die, Hokmah. Verse 18. This servant saying at the end, and hid his master's money. My goodness. He couldn't even claim the money for himself. Just like some folks can't even claim the gifts that they already have. You've been empowered with gifts from birth. From birth. I'm looking at little infant Nakshan over here. Just turned 1 month old. My goodness. This little boy has been empowered with gifts from birth. My little lion over here, little Simba. From birth. Baruch Hashem. Now you are grown folks. You know little Nakshan, infant, newborn. You grown people. Able to walk and stand on your own 2 feet. Realize that you have gifts and abilities. Envision them. Imagine them. Because you do. And whatever you want to come out of Aladdin's lamp of gain, it can come out. And you can have it. It's for you. Not for me, it's for you. Because I have mine. And I love it. Verse 19. After a long time, the master of whose servants came and settles and settles his account with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought 5 more talents, saying, Master, you gave me 5 talents, and behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. Wow, that's multiplication. I like that kind of multiplication. You take 5, you make 5. Wow, that's some good numbers, right? How many of you, that servant? You don't have to put up 1s or 2s or whatever, but just think to yourself, am I that servant? What did I contribute with what I was given? What did I contribute? Well, I took 5 and I made 5. Think my master's going to be happy if I took 5 and made 5? Let's keep it moving. Verse 21. His master said to him, well done, you good and trustworthy servant. Oh, Baruch Hashem. When I stand before the Creator, I take my last breath. I want to hear those words. Well done. How many of you? Man, I heard many good Christian songs about this. Christians got some good songs. They got their little Christian music. And they have some good songs about when you stand before and you're held accountable. And God says, well done. Anybody else heard them songs beside me? A lot of good Christian singers out there that sing songs about this statement right here. Well done, you good and trustworthy servant. How many of you want to be trustworthy of the Master? You want to be trustworthy. Daniel says, not only heard them, but used to sing them. I too as well, Daniel. Used to bring tears to my eyes, and I'm pretty sure they used to bring tears to your eyes too. Because that was my motivation. At the end of the day, I wanted to please God. And I wanted God to be pleasing in my sight. I wanted God, when He sees me, to say, hey, well done. I mean, you want to hear that from your mother and father. They tell you, well done. My daughter told me the other day, you need to tell me when I do things good. And, from a child's lips from God's mouth to a child's lips, I say, yeah, I need to do that as well. You're right. You're doing a great job. Well done. Children need to hear that, right? You as children of Israel, you want to hear that as well, don't you? Well done. You don't want to hear, man, you tore up from the floor up. You can't make $1 out of 15 cents. What is that doing for you? That's not going to help your situation. That's definitely not going to help you gain when you're being told that. But when you're being told, well done, well done. Like my steak, well done too. But well done. Matthew chapter 25, verse 21. And his master said to him, well done, you good and trustworthy servant. You have been trustworthy over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of your master. Oh, how beautiful. You have been trustworthy over a few things. Because you've taken those things. Now this is a mindset. This is a mindset of gain. This servant had a mindset of gain. He's like, look, I'm going to take what you've given me and I'm going to double it. I'm going to double it. That's his thought process. His thoughts was to double it, and guess what he did? In the physical, he doubled it. You see? That's how he thought. And his thought became action. Real action. On this real earth. He took it and he doubled it. That's the doubling servant. Took it, double it. And the master, look what the master says. You've been trustworthy over just a few things. You see? Now you're going to master many. I'm paraphrasing. Now I'll make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of your master. You know when the master's happy? You know when the master's full of joy? When you full of joy and you gain. Hakohi's been teaching about this over and over and over again. You know when the master's happy? You know when you meet your mark? It's when you do what makes you happy. When you have happy feet. And you find your place in life where you're happy. If it's being in the back, middle, front of the bus, doesn't matter. Where are you happy? Where are you less stressful, less anxious, less depressed, no depression, no stress, no anxiety? Find that place and be full of love, full of peace, full of joy. Are you with me this morning, Mishpahah? Going into evening for some? Going into noontime for others? This is beautiful stuff. This will help us find out where, why, how we need to contribute. How we need to take our gifts and gain. Double our gifts. Quadruple them if you have to. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Universe. So these are the things that we have to look at and examine going forward. Let's continue with the story. Let's continue with the parable. Okay, so we see the first one. The first servant, he finds the joy of the master. Enter into the joy of your master. Why? Because the man gained. He took his abilities and he gained from them. Now, verse 22. He also, that had received 2 talents, came and said, Master, you gave me 2 talents, and behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. Baruch Hashem. You see, this second servant, I find him quite interesting. Why? You want to know why? Let me tell you why. It's because he was given less than the first servant, right? Somebody do the math real quick. How much less was the second servant given than the first? Can anybody tell me? Do the math. I got to make sure y'all still up with me. Do the math. How much less was the first servant, the second servant? 3 less. To top of that, Daniel. 3 less. That's something that is, by the way. But he was given 3 less. But listen, did the second servant, did he complain? Did he sit there and he put his underoos in the water and say, you know what? I'm done with this. The master left. He gave me lesser than the first. What? He think I don't work as hard as the first servant? Why he gave the first servant 5 and I only get 2? You see? No, but that wasn't the... See, I find the second servant very interesting. See, because he wasn't a complainer. He was all about contributions. You see? All about contributions. He said, okay, you only going to give me 2 talents? I'm going to take those 2 talents and give you 2 talents more. And that's just what he did. And verse 22. Verse 23. And his master said to him, well done, you good and trustworthy servant. You have been trustworthy over a few things. I will make you rule over many things. Enter into the joy of your master. He told him the same thing as he told servant 1. And servant 2 was given lesser. So, what are you gleaning from this? Let me tell you what you can glean from this. Is that it's not in the amount, but it's in the action. Ooh-wee. Do you see that, Mishpahah? It's not in the amount that you're given, but it's in the action that you take. You see, he was rewarded for his action. Do you see it? Wow. That's beautiful, isn't it? You see, the master didn't concern, well, proportionally to how much the percentages that I gave the servant 1. No, he told him the exact same thing as he told servant 1. See, this is why the Mhokma was telling me this week, contribute to your world, contribute to the family, contribute to your spiritual family, contribute to your earthly family, contribute to your job, contribute to your neighborhood. Contribution. That's where you gain. You gain when you contribute. Wow. Tadarabah Mhokma, Mother Wisdom, Holy Spirit. Now, here we go. We're going to enter into the third servant here. When we look at Matthew chapter 25, verse 24. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Master, I knew that you were a hard man. Now, I don't know where this servant getting that from, because the other 2 never mentioned nothing about being a hard man. Harvesting where you have not sowed, and gathering where you did not scatter seed. And I was afraid. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something about success, Ms. Bahar. I'm going to tell you something about success this day. I'm going to tell you something about success this day. If you want to be successful, you cannot have the mentality of, oh, because I have little, I'm not going to put it out there for gain. You have to take whatever you have for gain and apply it for more gain. So, again, you must put money in to get money out. That's just what it is. You can't say, oh, because I only have just a little bit of money, I cannot apply that, or a little bit of energy, I cannot apply that so that I can get many energy, because then I won't have no money. You understand what I'm saying? Luxury class said, the fish and the loaves were multiplied. Oh, indeed. Little can become much, but you have to have much mindset even with little. You see? Though you see it as little. You see, the amount is irrelevant. It's what you do with what you get. Do you understand? This is one of the greatest lessons of this parable that the Master Yeshua is trying to teach to the world. It's not whether you get 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. It's what you do with those talents. That's the key. What actions do you take? You see? Do you have the mentality of gain or of darkness? You see? Because when you bury stuff, you put it in darkness. You hide it. Are you going to gain? Are you going to contribute to the world? Or are you going to hide? You see? Think about this for a minute. My goodness. My goodness, Mishpahah. This is key. This is key. This is crucial stuff here. To your success. To your gain. Now your gain may be whatever. I don't know. So you're saying, well, what is my gain, Rabbi? What are your thoughts? What are your dreams? What are your desires? What do you want? That's your gain. You see? That's your gain. You see? Because you're going to find joy in the Master when you gain in this life. And it's not all about money energy. Could be health energy. Could be relationship energy. It could be all kinds of energy. Could be material energy. However you want to get. What's your gain? What do you want? Kohen talked about that later. Well, what do you want at the end of the day? That's how you make the Master happy. By contributing, you see. It's so very important that you do understand this, Mr. Bahar. Because you got to realize you don't fail. You know what failure is? When you fail to act, you act to fail. Woo-wee! I heard that by one of my mentors before. When you fail to act, when you fail to act, you act to fail. Wow. There's no such thing as failure. You only gain experience. And even in so-called failure, you still gain. Because you gain experience. And I guarantee you, Luxury Class will tell you this firsthand. He gained a lot of experience from that episode or that experience of not using the light to try to get up and navigate in his room. My goodness. He gained a lot of experience behind that going forward. That 10-second blunder woke me up literally. Indeed. And figuratively. So it's very, very important that you do understand that you don't fail. Well, it's only 1 talent, and if I fail, then I don't have anything. See, then you have the mindset of already failing. So then what do? You hoard it. You take it and you hide it. Now let's continue. I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. Let's continue to read this here. I think it's very important. So this third servant. So he says, Master, I knew you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sowed and gathering where you did not scatter seed. And I was afraid, and I went and I hid your talent in the earth. Lo, there you have, that is yours. There you have, that is yours. My goodness. You've been given talents and abilities. You've been given the goodies, as the master calls them in this parable. You've been given the goodies. And yet the only thing that you have to say for yourself as having a lifetime worth of goodies is you're going to just give those same goodie bags back. Wow. You're going to take that goodie bag and you're going to bury it. You're going to preserve it for the day when the master returns. Not to do nothing, not to even, you didn't even have time to crack the goodie bag open because you took it and you buried it. You hid it. You kept yourself in the darkness. You put the goodie bag in the darkness instead of using it to light up your world and to gain. Not only to light up your world, but the world around you. Wow. See, you have three different servants here that's talked about in this parable. Where do you fit in this category? Now, listen to the response of the master. Here, let's listen to that response of the master. What did the master say? Even Nakshan saying, my goodness, how can you not be one or two servant? Number 3 servant is awful. Listen to what the master says about this in the parable in Matthew chapter 25, verses 26. His master answered him and said to him, you wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I harvest where I sow not, and gather where I have not scattered. You ought to have therefore have put my money into the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own money with interest. You should have taken what I've given you and used it. Put it to use. Acknowledge that you have the gifts, and then put them to use. Contribute. Contribution. Utilize this energy and make more energy for the positive sake. Do positive energy for positive energy's sake. But no, you decided to do negative energy. Verses 27 of Matthew chapter 25. I'm going to read that again. You ought to have therefore put my money into the exchanges, and then at my coming I should have received my own money with interest. Take therefore the talent from him and give it to him that has 10 talents. Wow, you see? Your ability, your mindset. Now, the servant, he had a particular mindset. He thought a particular way, just like servant 1, servant 2 did. They thought a particular way. Take it and go produce it, multiply it, like Luxury Class was talking about it. But this person didn't have that kind of mindset. He didn't have the multiplying mindset. He had the neutral mindset. Take it, keep it, don't do nothing with it. Now, this doesn't pertain to money. Money is a form of energy. But there's other energies that you have circulating in your life. Other talents and abilities that you have circulating in your life that has nothing to do with money, but you have the ability and the talent. What are you doing with it? Burying it? The master goes on to say that in Matthew chapter 25, verse 29, for to everyone that has, listen to this, this is key, for to everyone that has shall be given. I'm going to stop right there for a minute. For that everyone that has shall be given. See, this is the mindset. Look, Nashan is laughing in his sleep over here because he understands that. Even as an infant. For everyone that has shall be given. What do you want? What do you have? You see? What do you desire? Shall be given. What do you dream? Shall be given. What do you want? Shall be given. What do you have? Well, Rabbi, I don't have anything. Well, guess what? Shall be given. You see? Shall be given. For everyone that has shall be given. So my question to you is, what do you have? Here's the secret right here. The secret that the servant couldn't get. Hopefully after this the servant got it. Because he took himself as a having nothing mentality. So guess what? The master took what he had. Because he thought that he had nothing. You see, your thoughts are key. What do you think about? What do you want? What do you desire? You want to make the master happy, make yourself happy, then the master's going to be happy. then you make him full of joy because why? You full of joy. Then you can enter into the master's joy because you full of joy and peace and love and happiness. Are you getting it, Mishpah? So, but when you have the mentality of you don't have nothing, guess what? That you do have is going to be taken away from you because guess what? Just like the master's saying here, for everyone that has shall be given. This is why you do your affirmations, because you need to come from a mindset of have. I have it. I thank you for that. I'm so happy and grateful for that brand new house with the 3-car garage. I'm so happy and grateful. Oh, you have. I have a new house. I have that new job. I have that wonderful wife. I have that loving husband. Why? Again, let's go back to what the master says. For everyone that has shall be given. Plain and simple. Do you see it, Mishpah? This is beautiful. To everyone that has shall be given. Many years I was saying I have a son, and guess what? I'm rocking my son to sleep right now as he wake up. Baruch Hashem. I have a son. Everyone that has shall be given, and I'm given a son. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Master Yahweh. Thank you, Master Yeshua, Master Jesus of Nazareth, for this great understanding. I'm not in the dark anymore. Baruch Hashem. You are no longer in the dark anymore. You don't have to take your stuff and bury it. Put it in darkness. No. You don't have to do that anymore. You can go out and multiply it. Illuminate your light. Are you with me, Mishpah? Matthew chapter 25, verse 29. For everyone that has shall be given. And get this. And he shall have abundance. Baruch Hashem. But to him that has not shall, listen to this, not that shall be taken away, but for him that has not shall be taken away even that which he has. Ooh-wee. So you don't need to have the mindset. See, it's all in your mindset. That's why you got to have control over that mind. You can't let the mind be controlling you. If your mind is controlling you, oh my goodness, you in a hot mess. But you need to use the mind for the wonderful tool that it is and get inside your I am self. I am whole. I am complete. What do I have? I have a new car. I have that Tesla. I have that Benz in the garage. I have that wonderful wife. I have that awesome job. That's what you have. That's what's going to be given to you. Because you're already saying you haven't. You're not coming from a have-not perspective. See, servant number 3 was coming from the have-not perspective. Oh, I don't have. So this is the master's money. He had this is the master's money. I better hide it because I don't want the master to be upset. That's the last thing I want to do, have upset master. Come back, I'm going to give the master back exactly what he gave me. No, I'm going to take what the master gave me and I'm going to multiply it. The master gave me seed to multiply and multiply the earth with children. And guess what I did? I took my seed and I had a son. Baruch Hashem. Yet some people, I'm just going to use that example because I'm a proud father right now. Super proud, super excited. And I say that in all humility. Fatherhood is awesome. But think about all these men out here. And I have friends that think this way. They've been given the seed of the master. The goodies. They're actually a goodie sack, if I can say. But yet they say, oh, I don't want any children. I'm not going to have any children. What is that? You're doing the same. You have the same mentality as servant number 3. You've been given a goodie bag. You've been given the seeds. Yet you don't use them. You don't multiply your seed. Have a little mini me running around here. I tell you, Nachshon is the spitting image of me. I am the Father. I don't need to go on Maury Povich because I am the Father. I see him in me. I live on, Mishpah, and I'm super happy, and I'm super excited for that. I'm just giving you one example of it. That had nothing to do with money. But I took the action. And believe me, it was a lot of work. I did the work. And now Nachshon is here. You see, I'm in partnership with the Creator. Whatever you want to call him, God, Lord, whatever, da-da-da. I'm with, omnipresence. I'm in co-partnership. And bringing forth Nachshon. My wife is in there too. And now he's here in all his glory. and all his esteem, and all his humbleness, and all his loudness. But you see, that's where we are, Mishpahah. That's what's important to understand. You have to contribute. Believe me. For those of you who have brought forth seed, did it not require contribution upon the part of the man? He had to contribute his what? His sperm. I don't want to go into the birds and the bees this day, but I want you to understand, at every level in life requires contribution, positive or negative. Servant number 3 gave you negative contribution. Servant number 1 and 2, positive contribution. Do you see it? You must contribute this day. Right, Nashan? Nashan saying, yes, yes, Father. Yeah, Dad. We must contribute. It's very, very important. Contribution is key. So you must look at your lives this day. I'm getting ready to close it up. And I think Luxury Class wanted to say something. I'm giving the mic in a minute. We're getting ready to close it up here. But is there any questions on what we just talked about here? And how we broke down, again, another layer to the parable that the Master Yeshua, the Master Yahweh, the Master Jesus of Nazareth gave us here. I think it's important. Now, and believe me, there's many other revelations that can come this way as well. As the Holy Spirit gives them to us, then we can uncover them and reveal them. But this is a lecture that I think is timely for all of us. Because we can always do more contributing. Or like Adelia talked about, we can always add more fuel to our fire, to our energy. Positive fuel. That's going to help us meet our desires, our wants, our needs, thus bringing joy to the Master. Then we can enter into the Master's joy because we're full of joy. You can't go into the Master full of joy when you're physically full of hate, anger, depression, anxiety. See, these are negative attributes, negative energy. We want to be on the side of positive energy. You see? Positive attributes. And do great things for the Master. That's what's important. Sean? So, Luxury Class, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go. And I'll give you the mic. You all queued up and ready to go. I'll give you the mic. Luxury Class also has something to say. Is there anyone else you have something to say at this time? Lecture's completed. You want to say something? You want to give a testimony? You want to give a steam to the Master for something that's happened in your life? Please. You can acknowledge it. I'll read it. Or we can. I can give you the mic as well. But here's your opportunity. Okay, Luxury Class, over to you.
Earlier on, there was some discussion about being in the United States and us having those that are in the United States really having it in many respects easier. If we have a power outage for 4 to 6 hours, people oftentimes they're not used to that because it isn't frequent. And so it is. I've traveled abroad internationally, UK, different parts of Europe. UK is really cool to go to. But the truth is that when I was out of the country for over 5 months, traveling a few years back, I'll never forget coming back to the United States. And it wasn't because I was uncomfortable being away. It was actually quite a good experience. Because there's some really nice places in UK, and there's a lot of nice places in Europe, actually. But there's no place like the United States of America. And so, when I came back to the United States, I was I remember touching down, landing, and getting into the airport, going through customs. It was the best. It was like the best feeling in the world. I was home, even though I wasn't at my home airport yet. And so being thankful and being, we kind of talked about getting fat, so to speak. That's a great way of putting it. That's exactly what it is. And that term, getting fat and happy, kind of thing. It's not necessarily about. We're not talking about necessarily weight, but it's an issue of being complacent and so used to it that we're not even satisfied with being satisfied. And it's a fantastic point. That's a great reminder to me as well. And so I like to be anti-complacency whenever possible. So anyways, I'm rambling a little bit, but I wanted to make a point though. People, if you haven't traveled abroad, if you have the opportunity to do so, it's great to do it. It shocks the brain in a good way, and then it makes you appreciate what you have even more. Because in many places, it's I've used this comment in the grocery store. before, but it's like 1,600 choices of salad dressing. I'm exaggerating, but in Europe, it's usually choice A or choice B, and it's narrowed down. And there's nothing wrong with it; it's just the way it is. I'm just saying that there's so many choices that the things we think that are such a benefit can actually be a detriment if we don't view it in its proper context. Does that make sense? So I wanted to at least say that, and great points. That's a great point. Earlier in the lecture too, fantastic. Thanks for the reminders. And there was one other thing. I did want to esteem the wonderful Creator for His dietary laws. All His laws are fantastic and life. They're words of life. But I've had a different viewpoint from coming into this room about how I promote certain things to people now. I don't condemn anybody for things that I used to do in my past, but 15 years now approximately, I've been eating clean, and even though I was 25, at that time, I noticed that my health skyrocketed, and everything else changed once I started following the Creator's instructions on how to eat and how not to eat. Fantastic. So I want to give the praise and blessings to the one true God of Israel.
Daniel, Tadar Rabah for that. Luxury Class, Tadar Rabah for that. And Daniel, you as well for all your responses, and everyone in here that contributed to the lecture this day. I want to give thanks to all of you here, and I'm thankful for all of you here as part of the family members. So if there's not any other questions, I'd like to close up the lecture for this and let you all continue on with your Shabbats and your families and your friends and your loved ones, and have a wonderful Shabbat. Great 6 days of labor ahead. Rabbi Keefer's over here going to get on diaper duty. Baruch Hashem. Nakshan leaves me great goodies. So I got to deal with Nakshan's goodies. So Baruch Hashem. Daniel says thank you for reminding me to give esteem to the Abba and give thanks for the timely lecture. I think it was for me personally. Baruch Hashem. Give thanks to the Master. So yeah, let me get over here and get on these goodies over here in this diaper. Shabbat Shalom. I think my audio was off. Oh, no. Your mic was on. You're good to go. We have you. You're going to be on the recording. No worries. Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. Love you and leave you in the hands of the Master Yahweh.
Shabbat Shalom to you, awesome tribes of Israel who are listening into this broadcast, whether live or whether after the Sabbath. So today we are going to focus on our Parsha. I know that some of you may still be celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles. You might be in the midst of those. That's great if you are. And as you know, we kind of overlap with our Parsha sometimes. Sometimes we're dealing with the festivals. Other times we're dealing with the regular Torah readings. But before I do, I want to give you a little joke. In this joke, a lady was teaching a Sunday school, and the topic for the day was Easter Sunday and the resurrection of Christ. And then the question that she asked was, what did Jesus do on this day? There was no response. So she gave her students a hint. It starts with the letter R. Then one boy blurted out, recycle. Actually, to be honest, I think the boy was kind of wise. It's a joke, but nevertheless, that's exactly what you might call coming back into the world. You're recycled. You die, you come back. Now, based on that, we will look at that recycling option in a few minutes. But first, I want to give you a little testimony of what has been happening in my travels as I travel the country up and down. And my goodness, I've been traveling a lot, and in and out of buses, coaches, and the three-wheeler rickshaws, in and out of those things. I've also been traveling the metro bus service that they have over here, which is kind of good. It can take you through the different routes of the city, from one end of the city to the other end, and that's kind of specially made to to cater for the people, and it's very inexpensive, really inexpensive to use. So what actually happened is I attended a wedding. My goodness, it was a whole affair, 3 days of affair. There was anointing on the day one of the bride and the bridegroom. Then after the anointing, that lasted till about, my goodness, 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And then after that we had the second ceremony, which was the going to the girl's house and pick up, actually we went to the church. There was a church ceremony the next day where the girl was invited to come to church, and they were going to conduct a church ceremony. And so I was there, sat in there, watched the church ceremony, how they do it. The difference I found was that compared to the West and the East, was that here they make you pick up the Bible and they make you swear an oath. So I know in the West, they don't make you pick up a Bible and swear an oath. They normally say, you'll be with each other till death do you part. But here, they picked up the Bible and they made the bride and the bridegroom recite verses to the effect that they will be loyal to each other and have fidelity and so on and so forth, to that effect. I thought that was kind of a good touch, picking up the Bible and using that as a reference point for your oaths. Now, of course, as you all know, it all now depends on how good those oaths are, whether those oaths are kept or not. And these are really individualistic choices. But it was kind of interesting. And then after the little pastor or the priest ceremony in the Catholic Church, we then they came out taking pictures and stuff, and then they released some balloons, then they released some turtle doves as a sign of peace, and then after that we went our merry way to the bridegroom's home, and then the bride went to her home. Then we had to go in coaches other side of town to then sit with the bride's family and get what we call a departure from the bride's side. So we got a departure from the bride's side, but listen to this. Throughout these ceremonies, I try to keep myself out of the limelight, of course. And my goodness, I just can't stay out of the limelight. I just try to stay at the back. I sit at the back. I just observe and watch what's going on, so I can learn things that maybe I don't know, things that I've never seen, especially in the Catholic Church. And so I was kind of at the back, and it turns out that every time I go at the back, I'm kind of propelled forward. And although I don't want to take any pictures, standing with different people saying, hey, take my picture, I don't want to do that. I just stay away, kind of right at the back. But the bridegroom's mom, she kept coming and taking me. Hey Simon, come, we've got a picture. You got to stand in a picture with us. So she did that a few times. I was like, my goodness, I don't want to stand in all these pictures and videos. But anyhow, in the end, I was like, it was a long, drawn-out ceremony, and I appreciated the value of water during these ceremonies. Why? Because we were in this house. It's not a great house of the family, mediocre house, 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom with just the toilet in it, the commode, or not the commode, they have the squat one, and then they had another side of the bathroom which was simply a wash area for washing your body and washing your hands. Now listen to this. There was a lot of people over there that came through, and so it was, my goodness, it was a huge amount of people. Probably, I'd say at least, I'd hazard a guess, a couple of hundred people. We were all, sitting over there, and then all sorts of dances and things going on, merriment. And the next day, I slept on their traditional, what do you call it? So it was all kind of merriment, but I realized the value of training that I received when I was in the British Armed Forces, because the next day there was hardly any water over there. because they had water shortages over here. They get gas shortages as well. What they get is load shedding on the gas and load shedding on the electric. When they get load shedding on the electric, water also stops. So anyhow, I asked for 1 glass of water. Now listen to this. With that 1 glass of water, I had to wash my face, shave my, trim everything, and then I had to wash my face with that, clean it up, and that was that. So I had a glass of water with which to brush, shave, and wash my face. Anyhow, I did that, and I was like, wow, we take water for granted over in the Western world so much. And here, because of the electric supply, because of load shedding and other things going on, they have a shortage. And so there are times in the day when electricity goes out, water stops, gas stops. My goodness, imagine that. You have a gas supply that stops, direct from the pipes to your house because of load shedding. I experienced all that. It was great. It was good experience. So I went through this 3 day of experience in the marriage. I went to the I guess the bride's place where they live, and then there was somebody who came looking for me over there, some pastor's son who wanted to see me and was instructed that I have come from America and I'm present in the wedding. So he made an announcement for me to come out and see him. So I saw him. I went to his house. He took me to his house. They offered me tea, cakes, and then we had a very cordial conversation regards the law, the Torah, the Messiah, all those things. And I was speaking to his father. He writes like hymns, based on I guess the New Testament and based on the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, and the Psalms. And he was showing me the book that is written in his language. And then we were talking to the son. We had a good conversation regarding the application of the law, because here everybody is taught that Jesus of Nazareth brought the dispensation of I guess mercy and salvation. So I asked that question. I sat down with several pastors during last week, several of them. They came to visit me at the house where I was staying prior to the wedding and after the wedding, and they were speaking to me and they were asking me, they were talking about grace and the Messiah bringing grace, and I asked one simple question. I said, are you telling me that during Noah's time there was no grace? And that kind of made them pause and think. I said, Noah's family escaped the flood with a boatload of animals and food to support them for over a year. So think very carefully what you're saying. And I said, are you telling me that there was no grace for Israel prior to our excursion out of Egypt? And I said, unfortunately, what you have been taught are a lot of doctrines that come out of churchianity and church fathers. They really have no basis where we stand today. So I explained to them that we, as the children of Israel, we the Bnei Israel, we have grace all the time, 24/7, 365, prior to the Messiah coming into the world. And I said, the Messiah, let me actually give you something to think about. I said, the Messiah was Jewish. He was a Jew. He was not a Christian. So how can you take one of our people and convert him into something he's not, and then you can take all these doctrines and all these other things that you believe in? And I said, I completely understand that these are traditions that you are taught to follow, and it's all well and good, but we are not taught to follow traditions. We are taught to follow the law of Moses. I said, everything that we do in this world, we were not given a religion and told, hey, join the Pentecostal church and you'll get blessed, or join the Baptist church and you'll get blessed, or join the Presbyterian church and you will be blessed. I said, there is no such commandment. There is no such commandment in the Torah that says we have to wait for a messianic figure to come and redeem us, I said, this idea is not only nonsensical, it's farcical, and it's a charade at the end of the day. It's just basically what it is. I said, the words of the Messiah are totally misunderstood and they are misrepresented, because he never spoke about a new religion, a new priesthood, and new everything else. I said, let me now tell you something that is very, very key, that you need to think about. I said, you're speaking to a son of Aaron, directly, face to face. I said, who is greater in the kingdom of God? Let's just think about this for a second. What is the kingdom of God? Who is the greatest in the kingdom of God? And I said, of course, we take the analogy of what the Messiah said. I'm not going to go there with the children and all of that. I'm not going to go there. I'm simply going to speak about the times when the Messiah was born. He was a baby and he was taken by his parents to the temple. I said, the parents took him to the temple for a redemption ceremony. So I said, who is greater? The redemption ceremony makers or the alleged Messiah who's going to redeem the world according to your theologies? So I said, this is a problem because we don't have that. And they said, do all Jews believe that he is not the Messiah? I said, no. There are Messianic Jews that believe he is a Messiah, but they also obey the law of Moses as primary. There are those Orthodox people that do not believe he is a Messiah. And I can understand that perfectly well because of the bad teachings that originate from the church that really have no basis with our laws. Hence why they reject the Christian Messiah. I said, really, I'll be honest with you, there are two Jesuses. In fact, they gave me the name, they gave me the idea of writing a book called The Two Jesuses. Because there's one Jesus who's actually a Jew, born in a Jewish family, raised in a Jewish family, obeying the Torah and submitting to the temple. There's that one Jesus who, after he heals the lepers, he sends them to the temple. He doesn't say, hey, come join my club. I'm starting my service at 10 o'clock on Sunday. Come over here and we can praise the Lord together. Doesn't do that. I said, then there's the other Jesus that actually tells you, hey, I've started Christianity, now you come to me and we'll celebrate this together, and I'll redeem you, you believe in me and I'll redeem you, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So I said, that's basically what you've been taught. I said, unfortunately there's no such thing. I said, now let me also give you a little instruction about why we believe the Torah is paramount. Because we categorize our books. I said our books, not your books. I said, these are our books. We categorize them under the heading of the laws. The laws are the Torah, the 5 books of Moses that all of your Bibles contain. I said, we then have the prophethood, the history, the historical writings. We do not take those lightly, and we do not use those to make new laws. We have no right to make new laws with what the prophets are saying or have said. I said, we do not make new laws with the New Testament either, because the New Testament is the last in the category of books. Jewish books, written in Hebrew and Aramaic, translated into Greek and a million other languages, but they are our books. And I said, we do not place the New Testament ahead of the Torah. So you must understand that for us, the laws buck with the law of Moses. That's where they buck and that's where they stop. And we, when we do something, when we are not sure of something, when we are asked a question and the New Testament says one thing and our law says another thing, guess what we do? We put the New Testament to one side and say, nope, we're going to go back to the Torah, and that's what we're going to do. I said, if the prophets say one thing and the Torah says another thing, let's just talk about the prophets. If Isaiah the prophet said one thing and the Torah said another, I said, guess what we're going to do? We're not going to sit there and say, oh, is Isaiah a prophet or not? We're not going to debate it. We're just going to put Isaiah to one side and say, no, you sit down over here quietly. Torah rules. Torah laws are paramount. And maybe we don't understand what the prophets are trying to say, because 9 times out of 10, the prophets are actually speaking the language of the Torah, and we may not fully understand it, and that's appreciative. So I explained to them that there is no such thing as a dispensation of grace, because if we really are honest about it, Israel always had grace, if we're really honest about this thing. And I said, the covenant of salvation was given to Abraham back in Genesis, the book of Genesis. There is no new covenant or additional covenant that was given for Israel's salvation. There isn't any. However, loosely speaking, we say the new covenant, loosely speaking. But I said, really, it's not really quite a new covenant, because the writers of the New Testament, especially the book of Hebrews, make all sorts of claims against such a covenant, that it's better promises and better this and better that. But actually, there is nothing better than the Torah, and the same covenant that's called the New Covenant, some might call it a renewed covenant, that is actually part and parcel of the Torah laws. The same Torah laws with maybe a tweaking of the laws, nothing more. So I said, therefore our difficulty is this: we do not look at the church and decide our fate based on what the churches think and what they dictate. So we just don't do that. And so therefore there is no such thing as a Jew becoming a Christian, because there's no such thing. If he believes in the Messiah, he will still remain a Jew. He will still remain Bani Israel. He will not become Christian as per se, as in your wording. And I explained to them that that is basically where we rest. We rest in the Torah. We have our love for God in the Torah. We have our laws in the Torah. We have our redemption in the Torah. We have everything in the Torah. Torah is our love. Torah is God's love for Israel, and it's our love for God, basically. I said the Torah is not a religion. It's not a church service. It's actually how we live, how we behave, and how best to live. I said that's what the Messiah taught as well. If you really look carefully, he taught the same Torah in a different kind of way, a kind of more enlightened way. So we have to look at all these things and say, you know what, our Torah is great. There's nothing like it. And I told them, I said, let me caution you. Let me give you pre-warning what God says about us and about our land and about our restoration. So in the book of Zechariah, the prophet, we are told in no uncertain terms that there will come a time in the future where the nation's leaders will have to come to Israel, to Jerusalem. They have to come to the temple, third temple. They have to offer sacrifices. And if they don't come, God said, I will not send rain on you. So I said, are you prepared to receive no rain and starve to death and have your crops all wither away? Think about it very carefully. God said that in no uncertain terms, because God is going to glorify the children of Israel only, nobody else. So I was telling them that I want to put you all, everybody, all of you on notice that God is going to not only restore the children of Israel back, but you're going to be asked to attend our ceremonies, our services, our festivals. And if you refuse and you say, I'm Christian and I belong to the Baptist church or Presbyterian and not coming, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get no voters. And your leaders are going to come begging to us and say, Israel, please save us. Save us, because your God is real. So that's what's going to happen. So let me put you on another notice, that there will come a day when you will hold the zitzis of a Jew and say, we have heard your God is a living God. Take us to your God. I said, I don't see anybody wearing zitzis over here except myself. So I was like, I don't see them. So therefore, there's nobody going to be grabbing those unless people are wearing those. Of course, there are people here who are of the Jewish orientation, and they may be wearing the zitzits too. There's no problem about that, because I have heard that there are congregations here where the men folk are saying that they're Jews and they follow the festivals. They follow the laws of the Torah. So I said, These are only two things. He said, I said, I won't go into theology, doctrine, this, that and the other. I'm not going to flash you with science and what Hebrew says and what Hebrew means. I'm not going to do that to enlighten you with my knowledge. I don't need to do that. I'll be very simple and straightforward. You just read the book of Zechariah chapter 14 and you have the answer right there. Is what God says. Because here he said that we believe that there's no more temple. He believes that there's no more. It's all allegorical. So I explained. I said, yes, that's another Christian dogma. There's no temple. It's all allegorical. I said, if there was no temple in the future, why would God give precise measurements to Ezekiel the prophet? So again, I said, I'm not going to sit here debate with you about our temple, our laws, our ways. I am here. I'm the Kohen in the gate. You want knowledge, information, you want to know how to serve God, I can direct you how to do that. But if you want to teach me your ways, forget about it. I won't even take it for 3 seconds. So I said, that's where I stand. I publish the name of Yahweh that you refer so eloquently as Yehovah. I'm very happy to hear that. You refer to him as Yehovah. That's great. So serve Yehovah. You said serve Yehovah with a whole and sincere heart. Through the Torah. That is where the blessings and the rest is for everybody. Not just children of Israel. Everybody who belongs to Israel. I said there is no such thing as a new religion or Christianity or the umpteen denominations of Christianity. There's no such thing in God's worldview. It just don't exist. So it was wonderful. I was sitting over there and the church. I was sitting in the wedding ceremony in the hall, and guess who comes and sits opposite me? The Catholic priest. So we shake hands and we talk about a few things here and there, and we exchange some information, and then we leave it at that. Then after that, I had a fellow come to me who was a Muslim, and he sits with me and he tells me that his family was from New York, and he has his daughters over there in Brooklyn, and he used to live in Bronx, but he said he left America in 2001 because he came back to Pakistan to do his business over here. He basically does stamps, court stamps and court papers, and they issue stamps and do the paperwork, legal paperwork for somebody who wants to buy a house, land, and other things. He's a nice man. He's sitting with me. Something attracted him to me. He came and sat down, and he invited me to his house. He said, please come down to my house. He lives in a good part of town. He gave me his telephone number. He took mine, and he said, please phone me and come anytime you desire, and I'd like to sit with you and speak to you on a more cordial basis, because obviously in weddings you can't really discuss everything. So, and I said, I will definitely come. I will definitely visit your place in a few days' time. But thank you very much for inviting me, which was duly respected, duly acknowledged that, this man is giving me respect. And of course, I would duly give kindness and respect back. So it was great with that. And then I was sitting when the marriage basically ended, or at least what I thought was the end. There's still a few more days to go. They have to do other ceremonies, but they actually did break in their marriage. I recorded a ceremony in which they carried water on their heads. A lady would carry water on her head into the house as for the new couple for blessings. And they broke not a glass, but they put like these clay pot plates on the floor, and the bridegroom would jump on there and break those plates. And I asked one of the people in the wedding ceremony, I said, what does that mean, that you're breaking these plates? And he said, I really don't know. He said, this is a custom that we have been carrying for many years and generations. We don't know where it came from. And I was kind of like smiling, because I know that custom came from the temple, the breaking of the temple. So I was like, that's interesting, isn't it, that they're doing that? That's great. So they were doing a lot of ceremonies that are related to the biblical side, like anointing with oil, breaking of these bowls or glasses, and then carrying of the water, into the house, and there was other smaller ceremonies alongside that they had to do with the bride and the bridegroom. So I think all in all, I saw firsthand and learned quite a few new things for myself. I was like, that's great, that's wonderful. At least I know a few new things what goes on over here. And it was the middle of the night, it was like midnight, and I wanted to go home. I wanted to go to my friend's house, and I couldn't get there because no local taxi, three-wheelers, they were not going in that direction. So I said, okay, I have to go to my dad's house. So I caught a three-wheeler rickshaw, and I said, can you take me to where my dad's house is? So he took me to where my dad's house was. I gave him the address. He took me there. I went at midnight. It was like midnight past, and I knocked on my dad's door. My dad was fast asleep, happily snoring away. I woke him up on the phone because he wasn't opening the door on the bell. I woke him up, said, can you come and open the door, please? So my dad came outside. He opened the door, and I said, I was kind of stranded outside. Didn't have a place to go to. There was no transportation at this time. The metro was shut down. So I decided to come to your house and stay here the night. And so he said, no problem. He took me in and gave me the living room. He said, here's the living room, and you sleep as you like, and bath as you like, plenty water, plenty everything. So I didn't have a shower for 3 days in that place because there's no water. So my goodness, I had a shower in my dad's house, beautiful shower. I then did my little hygienic cleansing. I did my other things, and I was like, my dad has all the modern facilities, modern toilets, and the old style toilet, the squat toilet, and the new, the British American style commode. So he had all of that. So I was like, wow, look at this. My dad has everything right in this city, and that's great, isn't it? So I can just use the facility. And then in the morning, I had breakfast with my dad. I thanked him for his services, and I said, I've got to go now, and maybe I'll come through passing again another time. And so his wife, who's not my real mom but my second mom, she was saying that we're gonna cook something for you. I said, no, don't bother cooking for me. I'm about to leave because I got to go traveling to my friend's house, and I got some work to do with printing. Now here comes the printing bit. Rabbi Kifa would have told you regarding the printing of the 72 names, the 10 commandments. That also includes Psalm 23. I believe it includes Psalm 91. It includes the 42 names of Hashem, 42 names of God. And there's a couple of other items. The 10 commandments are going to be on 2 copper brass plates. So my friend had already printed a couple of samples, so I had to come and see those, and I came over here to this part of the city, right at the other side of the city, and I was able to see those samples. I was delighted to see the samples. They came out real excellent. And so today, I guess we're going to receive some more samples of the other bits that we have asked for before we commence full-scale printing of the actual plates. I believe that we are the first in the world to engrave the name of Yahweh and of course the Torah words onto a copper plate. Nobody's ever done this before. I've never heard of any Christian or Jewish organization doing this and asking people to put it on their doorposts, because we have a commandment in the Torah that says we must put this on the commandments on the door. What better? We have PVC doors. We can't drill holes in them because they are designed for double glaze, keep the wind out and keep the bad weather out, sun, etc. We can't drill and do odd things to our doors because we don't have wooden doors nowadays. So this is the next best thing. Imagine that. Imagine your house having 72 names of God in copper plate form engraved, having the 10 commandments engraved, Psalm 23 engraved, 42 names of God engraved, Anna Bekoach engraved. Powerful, powerful stuff. So we have been commissioned, and I'm very excited that, and I would like to tell you, and I like to give credit where credit is due, Rabbi Kifa gave the money for his son Nakshan's birth as a gift to make the samples. of these plates. As a gift, he donated the money. It was something like $300, and so that money is being used over here to create the samples, to do all the testing, to make sure the Hebrew's in the right place, and printing looks good, etc., etc. So once we do that, we will be bringing these back to America, and they will be available for purchases in America. I believe that what we're trying to do is keep the cost down as much as we possibly can, and I believe that we're going to be running somewhere around the marker of $30, maybe $35 for some of them, because the 10 commandments would not be able to fit onto one plate. They have to be 2 plates. I believe it's something like 5 and 5. But then we put all the commandments on there, the whole wording. We didn't do a shortcut, where mostly you see on the internet is a shortcut form, summary, where they take few words and they make them commandment 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, all on one plate. We're not doing that. We're doing the whole 9 yards and plus some more. Then we also have other amulets that we're trying to make. There's an amulet with I believe there is a Star of David. I believe there's a menorah, and also we're doing the Birkat Habayt, the blessing for the home. That's also going to be on another plate. So we have quite a bit of stuff going on over here through my student over here, which I'm coordinating and seeing through, because these things I feel are very important for our homes, for blessings, for protection, and for glorifying the name and publishing the name of God. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So that's the other thing that's going on down here right now. We're almost close to the completion of the samples. In a few days we'll have this whole thing wrapped up. Then we can start printing them in anger. The other thing, as you know, in Pasha's Bereshith, the book of Genesis, chapter 1, as you know, that God speaks about being the one who created the heavens and the earth, and the term that is used over there is Elohim. He does not use a term Yud-He-Vah-He or Hashem or Adonai, etc. So he says Bereshit bara Elohim alif tav Hashemaim va'et ha'eretz. So what does that mean? I was speaking to somebody and explaining to them that there is a significance for this when you say Yud-He-Vah-He and when you say Elohim. So I was sitting down with the pastor's son, and I was explaining to him that, do you know why God uses the word Elohim versus Yud-He-Vah-He? So I explained to him the significance, and explained to him that the Torah, the law of Moses, does not explain everything. It doesn't tell you why, I use this word over here or use that word over there. But I said there is always a purpose, meaning, and a hidden meaning usually behind those things. So it was absolutely wonderful. I met some real nice ladies over here, Christian ladies, very humble. They came to me to visit me, and I gave them some incense as a gift. I gave them the incense, frankincense. I said, take this frankincense, because I brought some from America with me, the frankincense cones. I gave them. I said, burn this in your house for blessings, and this will do great work over there. And they said to me, you must come to our house to pray. I said, I will absolutely come to your house to pray. Just give me a few days to wrap things up in other place. I'm wrapping up things with printing and stuff that's going on. Once I wrap those things up, then I'll be able to visit your homes. I had several people come to me saying, please come to our house and pray. And they love me to pray in the Hebrew tongue. So I said, okay, I'll pray in the Hebrew tongue for you. If you want a Hebrew tongue prayer, I will pray in the tongue of the Messiah himself. And so that, you can receive the blessings. And I had other people come to me there who asked for prayers for healing, for illnesses. There was a lady and her young daughter that came. They asked me to pray for them for healing and for wholeness, and I did pray for the healing and wholeness. But like I said, my goodness, I try to keep myself out of the limelight. I stay in a room, lock myself, kind of like close the door, and with this family that's graciously hosting me, and I don't want to go out and speak to people or show myself or stand in the street kind of thing. I don't do that. But people come to me, they're coming to me in hordes. They heard that this man has come from America. He is a mighty man of God, and he's a Kohen, and so on. People come rushing. Women are coming, their daughters are coming. They're all asking for prayers. They're asking for blessings, and they're asking for me to even go to attend their houses. And I was like, okay, fair enough. I will definitely make every effort to visit your places, your homes. Now make sure that your home is given a bracha, a blessing, that you may have wonderful blessings from the God of Israel. I tell you, it's been tremendously amazing time I've been having over here. Amazing time. Both sides of the fence, Muslim houses and Christian houses. My goodness, I am kind of making strides both ways. So I can go to either side and make great strides. And God has been really good. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, for the mighty blessings He's bestowed upon me to help other people. I'm absolutely enthralled, absolutely amazed at how God is working through me for these people. Absolutely wonderful, and just delighted, so happy. So I sat with one pastor and explained to him. I said, people teach you that in the book of Genesis that there was Adam and God created Eve. I said, do you realize that actually Eve is not the first wife of Adam? I said, did you realize? I said, his first wife's name was Lilith. She is actually mentioned in the book of Genesis in chapter 1. Her name was blotted out for disobedience. So I explained these things to them. They were like, really? I didn't know that. I said, well, there are many wonderful hidden things in the Torah that we don't speak about. We don't make doctrines about them. We don't say, well, because Adam had 2 wives, now you must have 2 wives as well. We don't do that. But I said there are many wonderful things in the Bible, in the Torah, in the Tanakh, and even in the New Testament. But I said that we certainly enlighten some people on the things that are occurring in there, but we don't enforce. We never enforce a dogma on people and say, hey, Adam had X number of wives, now you must have X number of wives. So we don't do that. I said it is good, it is wholesome for you if you can bring up your one wife, you can love her, you can feed her, you can honor her. And I said honor is very important. We absolutely emphasize on that, the respect of the woman. I said I've seen in this country, in your country here, that many women are not respected. And I said that's really sad, that needs to change. So I just kind of left it at that, and I went through brief sections of the Torah in the book of Bereshit. I spoke about brief sections of different areas of the Torah, explaining the different laws, explaining why God created those laws and what is the purpose. And in the end, it was all very fruitful, because at least I wasn't dogmatic and saying to them, you must join me or you must be part of my foundation. I was like, no. They asked me, they said, what denomination are you? I said, we are Bnai Israel. I said, if you want to call us a denomination, we are not, but we are Bnai Israel. We are the children of Israel. We don't have a denomination. I said, we have laws that govern how we live. We have no religion. Let's be very clear. God did not impart a religion to us and said attend church at 10:30 on Sunday and 6 o'clock on Sunday. We didn't have that. I said our attendance, if you can see, was on the Sabbath itself. That is called Mikra Kodesh. It's a holy day. It was created for Israel for blessings. So I said your Catholic Church or your Catholic Church in the past changed the holy day to a Sunday because they wanted to follow Sunday as a resurrection day. And I said that is fine. I'm not going to take issue with that. If that is how they felt, to change the day to Sunday to honor the Jesus' resurrection, if that's what they believe. But I said the only technical side of it is this: there was no such thing as Good Friday and Good Sunday. I said there was only, he actually resurrected on Saturday, on the Shabbat, at the end of it. And I said he was actually buried into the ground on a Passover during the week. So again, Wednesday, not Friday. But I said again, these are things that we don't really go into them, and we don't use them to bash people. It's just informational. If you feel that you want to teach Sunday resurrection and Friday as a Good Friday when He was crucified, that's fine. I said, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I've got no problem. I can live with it. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect children of Israel's salvation. We don't bother about it. But I said the Bible is a holy book. It's a spiritual book, and its meanings are, its meanings are practical. It's not just a airy-fairy, verses in there. I said those verses have actual meaning to how we live today. And I said that's what we teach. That's what we teach our people, so that they can learn and they can be blessed. And I said I would hate to teach a doctrine that originated out of another organization that really made it as an organization agenda. So I said we don't do that, and it's really not our remit to go around making new dogma and then teaching people, hey, this is how you got to do it now. I said we don't do that. I said if you come to me, I will tell you what the God of Israel has said and what He is going to do if you come to me. And if you go to another pastor, and he will tell you what the church's traditions are, what God says, and he will, give you whatever your church's traditions are. So I said that's okay as well. I'm not going to take issue with it. I'm happy that I'm sitting here in your midst. I'm able to speak about God. I'm very, very happy. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. May His holy name be praised forever and ever. So with that, I'm going to close, and I'm going to thank you for listening, who are listening live, and those of you who are listening offline on the MP3s. I would encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon, so that when we put out new teachings in the future, you can be informed about them, and then you can listen, because we put out some real good information, real great information that will absolutely change your life. And with that, I thought maybe I'll give you some information now at the end of this session. We speak about affirmations, and we speak about what I guess Napoleon Hill calls autosuggestion. Autosuggestion in a way that you write an affirmation and you speak it to train your mind to become that person. The awareness, the whole idea of this awareness is that you become that person by speaking the autosuggestions daily. And I have spoken about the mirror technique in the past, in previous lectures. I've spoken about other techniques, but one technique I would like you to apply, and I'll give it to you over here at the end of the class. If you stayed this long, then you absolutely deserve to have this to benefit your life, is that you don't need to recite the affirmations daily, religiously, to Timbuktu, like 365 days a year. What you really need to do is to decide what is it that you want today. Today you decide, what would I like to have? And some of you might come up with, I like to have my own house, I like to have a new car, or I like to have a new job that pays better salary. That is great, absolutely fine. Once you've decided on what you like to have, then you write an affirmation around it. And you might say, I am so happy and grateful that I have a wonderful job that pays a wonderful salary. Or you might write, I am so happy and grateful, or I am so grateful that I am driving my new Ford truck, or whatever it is that you like to have, whatever car you desire to have. So once you do that, you say, or you might say, I am so happy that my business is doing great and I'm receiving streams of income from my businesses easily and effortlessly. So these are the things that you might write. And once you write them down on a piece of paper, you kind of read it out loud. 2-3 times you read it out loud, you written it, and then what you do, you can do a little visualization session 1 to 3 times. Your visualization session should be no more than 3 days of that particular affirmation. And when you do your visualization session of 3 days max, and then you've spoken those affirmation, or that particular affirmation you've written, you've spoken it, you've visualized it now 3 times, and then you drop it. then you don't need to keep visualizing, you don't need to keep saying those words, you can move on to your second desire. And when you do it that way, you will find that you impress your mind just with that technique. That's all you need to do. You're impressing your subconscious mind with that suggestion, which you're writing and you're reading, and you're really doing it in a couple of sessions. Now, a lot of the teachers out there on the law of attraction field, they make it sound like, hey, you got to do this every day, every day, every day. It's not like that. Or they might say to you, you got negativities, you got to get rid of them every day, every day. No, it's not like that. Negativities have to be dealt with separately, apart from the affirmations. The affirmations simply, your tool to impress your mind. And so for a job, some of you are seeking good jobs, you can say, I am so grateful that I am doing a wonderful job at $80,000 or plus salary. So that way, if you are desiring a good job with a good salary, then you can say that affirmation and you can write it down. You can impress it on your mind by reading it a few times every day for the next 3 days. Visualize it for 3 days, then you drop that desire, then you stop doing it. Then you only come back to it in maybe 2 weeks, 10 to 15 days. You wait. You can go on to the second desire. 10 to 15 days time, you can come back and say, has that happened yet or not in my life? And if it's not happened yet, you can do another one session. You can do another one session of reading it out loud a few times. You can visualize it and then you drop it again. That's how you need to do it. Come back every 10-15 days. Every 10-15 days. And you will find that you will start to achieve your desires, because you got to give time to the seed for gestation, for growth. And you cannot get a seed to grow if you continually pound on it with a hammer. So, for instance, if you keep on imagining every day, you're only going to burn yourself out with the same seed. So don't imagine every day. Only do the imaginal act 1 to 3 times. Thoroughly. Do the imaginal act thoroughly. Thoroughly means be convinced in yourself that you have done it and that you are happy with it. When you're convinced and you're happy with it, that's where you drop it. And it could be you repeat the scene over and over in the imaginal act. You can repeat that scene 3, 5, 7, 10 times. Repeat it in the imaginal act 3 to 10 times. And you will be then satisfied with that one-time imagination, or 2 times or 3 times, max 3 times. And then you'll be satisfied that, yes, I have implanted the seed, I am happy, now I can move on to the second one and I can stop thinking about this. So if you do that, I can guarantee you that there's no desire that you cannot have. But live right, praise the God, come to the God of Israel with praise and thanksgiving. Means gratitude. Give gratitude every day, because I gave you the story of the water. 1 glass of water to do brush, shave and wash my face. So give gratitude that God has given you abundance of water, abundance of electric energy. That electric never goes out in America. You never have water shortages. You never have electric shortages. You don't have load shedding with gas. So my goodness, we've got to give thanks. We've got to give gratitude to God for that. So I would encourage you to do that. And continue listening, continue to observe the laws of the God of Israel, and God will bless you mightily. I thank you for listening. My name is Rabbi Simon Hakohen, and have a great Shabbat, have a great week ahead. Shabbat Shalom, and Shalom Shalom, Mishpachah.